Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers. And that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Quiet night, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Except for that coyote. He's wailing his head off out there. Mad at the moon, I guess.
Or in love, maybe.
Oh?
Yes, sir. The way I've noticed it, any time you find a man or an animal out squalling around in the dark, it's usually love.
Yeah, but this one sounds kind of mournful, Chester.
Well, sir, love is mournful sometimes, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Matt? Is that you?
Oh, good evening, Miss Morley.
How have you been, Matt?
Oh, fine. Fine, thank you. You, down here on Front Street this time of night alone?
I'm looking for Red Lawson. He's a new man, works for Al. Al's meeting him sometime after midnight, and they're going out on a cattle buying trip. I want to talk to him first. You satisfied?
Well, it's just that this is no place for a woman alone, Miss Morley. Maybe you better go home.
There are other women down here.
They belong here, Miss Morley. They work here.
Oh, don't be so stuffy, Matt. And call me Ava for once. Everybody else does.
Well, your husband might take exception to that, Miss Morley.
Now, you're blaming me for what happened before, aren't you?
I'm not blaming you for anything, Miss Morley.
I didn't tell him to get into a gunfight over me. It wasn't my fault.
I didn't say it was. Chester, you better see that Miss Morley gets home, all right?
Yes, sir.
I can get home by myself.
My, she's pretty as a picture. It makes you wonder.
Yeah, maybe you were right, Chester. With a woman like that, love might be kind of mournful.
So I just give my rope a couple of turns around that juniper stump, and I jerk back on it.
Lawson?
Oh, hi, Marshal.
I wonder if I could see you for a minute, huh?
Yeah, sure. Be right back, boys. What's on your mind, Marshal?
Lawson, I just ran into Miss Morley in the street outside.
You did?
Yeah, I suggested she go home. She's got no business being down here this time of night. It might be a good idea if you'd tell her that, huh?
Seems to me that's up to her husband.
Look, you're new here, Lawson. I guess you didn't know Fred Curtis and the Santa Fe Kid.
I heard about it. A couple of fools, as far as I can see.
Yeah, I guess they were. After they met Miss Morley.
Hey, look, Marshal. What's your stake in this?
I got no stake. What Miss Morley does is her own business, as long as it doesn't cause any trouble. I'm just trying to keep her peace, that's all.
I feel kind of sorry for her, that's all. Al treats her like a dog.
Uh-huh. Fred and the kid used to talk the same way.
Like I said, a couple of fools. I'm not.
I hope not.
See you around, Marshal.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I think so. Sure.
Hi, Kitty. Could I speak to you?
Oh, sure, Matt.
Excuse me, boys. I'll be back.
All right. You hurry back now.
What, man?
Kitty, has Al Morley been in tonight?
Oh, no. I haven't seen him, man. Should he have been around?
Oh, not necessarily. He and Lawson are riding out around midnight on a cattle buying trip. I just thought they might be meeting here.
Oh, well, not yet anyway. Jesse Wells would know what their plans are, though.
Jesse Wells?
Yeah, the bartender down there at the end, the young one. You know him.
Oh, yeah, sure. Why would he know?
Well, he's going along. Al asked him to help out. They're going to follow the Lazy Bee roundup. Try to get in ahead of the buyers from Chicago.
Oh, yeah. He's a nice-looking kid. I wonder if,
Yeah, he's another friend of Ava's.
Oh, boy. Hold it now. Marshal Dillon. Oh, come on. Wake up, Marshal.
All right. Take it easy. Who is it?
Jesse Wells, Marshal. Open the door.
All right, just a second till I get it. There. What's the trouble, Wells?
Al Morley, Marshal. And you better get your horse, because we got to ride back out there.
Out where? What happened?
Buffalo Flats. We camped there to wait for the roundup crew. And Al's dead, Marshal. He's knifed in the back.
Did you do it?
No. It was Red Lawson. He knifed Al and he stole the money we were going to use to buy cattle.
What in the world is going on, Mr. Dillon?
You better saddle up, Chester. We got to ride.
What's the trouble?
The usual. Nothing new but the names. Seems Red Lawson turned out to be a fool in spite of himself.
Over this way, Marshal. Camp is right there by that plum thicket.
Right.
Be daylight in another 20 minutes.
Hello, boy. Oh. He's laying over there by the bushes.
Yeah, I see him. Whose knife is it, Jesse?
It's Al's. We were all asleep. We built a fire, made some coffee, and then turned in. But wait for daylight, the Lazy Bee bunch planned to work their stock up this way.
I see. Here, Chester. Wrap the knife in something and hang on to it. Huh?
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Now, go on, Jesse. What happened?
Well, like I said, Marshal Dillon, we were all asleep. I guess it was the sound of the horse's hose woke me up.
Mm-hmm.
Red Lawson, he was pulling out. I run over to Al, shook him to wake him up and tell him. Then I saw the knife. He was dead.
Where were you sleeping, Jesse?
Well, right about here, I guess. Red was across the fire over there, and Al was where he's laying now.
What about the money? How'd you know it was gone?
Well, I thought about it right off, and I figured that's why Red had done it. Al was carrying about $10,000 in a little leather sack. He'd stuck it under the blanket before we'd gone to sleep. So I went and looked for it. It was gone.
You figure Red killed him for the money, then?
Well, sure. Of course, I doubt he meant it, though. I think Red was trying to ease the sack out from under the blanket when Al woke up and caught him.
Yeah, it's possible.
Be light enough to start tracking him in a few minutes, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, sun's poking up over there now. Looks like it's going to be a clear day. Which way'd Lawson head out, Jesse?
East. Seemed to be following the wagon tracks.
Odds are bad, Mr. Dillon. He's got quite a start on us.
Yeah, too much of a start. Well, let's load the pack mule, Chester. I think we'll ride back into Dodge and then take the train from there to Abilene, then work back from the east.
Say, that's a good idea. Lawson probably won't be expecting anybody ahead of him.
I can't understand it. I just can't understand how anybody could do a thing like this.
It sounds like a meadowlark, Chester.
Yes, sir. He just flew into those bushes.
Red seemed a pretty nice fellow as far as I could tell.
It's a funny time of year for a meadowlark, isn't it?
Guess $10,000 was just too much temptation. Huh?
Oh, some of them hangs around all winter, Mr. Dillon.
No, that sure sounds a lot better than that coyote howling. All right, Chester. Get a hold of his feet. Let's load him up.
Sumac Creek water tank's right around the bend up ahead of us there.
How long will we stop here?
Oh, about 5 minutes. Just long enough to take on water. Might as well relax, Marshal. It's a long ways yet to Abilene. Why, we ain't but 24 miles from Dodge City.
Feels more like 100. These seats are harder than a saddle.
Yeah. Say, this here feller you boys looking for, I guess he's a real mean enough.
What? Oh, yeah. Mean enough.
Well, it's just like I always say, this prairie country ain't never gonna be a law-abiding place to live. Well, every time I pulled out of Kansas City on and run west, I'm expecting every minute to be shot or hung or scalped.
Chester.
What's the matter, Mr. Dillon?
Look out the window here. Around the bend there by the water tank.
Looks like we don't have to go to Abilene.
Oh, yeah, there's some fella waiting to catch a train, I guess. You boys recognize... Is he the one?
Yeah.
His horse is tied there by the tank. Must have decided on a quicker way of traveling.
Yeah, it looks that way. All right, Chester, he won't be expecting us. Let's get out in the vestibule and then drop off and take him as soon as the train stops.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Marshal, whatever you do, don't let him get on this train.
Just keep the passengers away from the windows.
In a way, it's too bad, Mr. Dillon. Miss Morley would have really enjoyed that $10,000.
You're guessing, Chester. Well, he hasn't seen us yet. All right, let's go.
Lawson, get your hands up.
No.
You're under arrest. Get your hands up.
No. He's running for his horse, Mr. Dillon.
Lawson!
He's going to fight.
You can't get away on foot. Lawson! Come on, Chester.
That's cutting it awful thin, Mr. Dillon. Giving a man 3 chances before you haul down on him.
Well, we're still on our feet. He's not.
Yeah, but it's a pushing the odds, though.
Yeah, I guess. All right, pick up his gun there, will you?
Yes, sir.
Lawson?
He's still alive, Mr. Dillon.
Can you hear me, Lawson?
Sure, I can hear you.
There's a sack of money. Looks like it fell out of his coat.
Yeah, I see it. Lawson, there's no doctor on the train. We're going to try to stop the bleeding and do the best we can for you. There'll be a train back toward Dodge City in about a half hour. We'll wait for it. Is that all right with you?
I don't have any choice, do I?
No, I guess you don't. You made your choice last night. Was she worth it?
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, every Saturday night, Gene Autry invites all his friends to visit him at Melody Ranch for a half hour of songs and stories about the Old West. Tune in the Gene Autry Show tomorrow night over most of these same CBS radio stations. Now for the second act of Gunsmoke.
Let me see now. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a bad one, Matt. Yes, I'd say the bullet's lying right in against his heart.
I just tried to wing him, Doc, but we were both moving. You can't always call him, you know.
No, I guess not. Well, I'm afraid that's about all I can do for him, Matt.
It's not enough, is that it?
He won't live an hour.
Yeah, I wish he was conscious. I want to talk to him.
Well, the stimulant might take effect, and then again might not. With this kind of a case, you never know. What is it you're after, Matt?
Ms. Morley?
Accessory before the fact?
She could have been.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a broken down old man, Matt, but if that woman rolled her eyes at me just once, well, I do not know. I just might.
Matt. Yeah. Lawson? Lawson, can you talk? Can you hear me, Lawson?
Yeah. Sure.
Was Ms. Morley in on it?
Nobody was in on it.
Did she know you were going to do it?
She had nothing to do with it.
Was she going to meet you somewhere later?
She had nothing to do with it. It was my idea. Nobody else.
Lawson. Lawson, listen to me. You're dying. Do you know that?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I can feel it. She wasn't in on it.
All right. That's the way you want it. At least Al won't treat her like a dog anymore.
What do you mean?
I mean, a dead man can't bother anybody.
Al?
You ought to know you killed him.
No.
What?
He was asleep. I took the money and rode away. And they were both asleep. I didn't touch him.
You're telling the truth.
I swear I didn't kill him. I only stole the money, and I didn't get... Well, guess I was wrong, Matt. The bullet was closer to his heart than I thought.
Yeah. And I was wrong about something myself, Doc. I thought this was the end of it. Now it's wide open again. Wide open.
I don't see why you got me here just to ask the same things all over again, Marshal, because I told you how it happened.
Yeah, I know, Jesse.
You caught Red Lawson with the money on him. Now, what more proof do you need?
It only proves he took the money, Jesse. It doesn't prove he killed Al.
Well, what do you mean?
Chester, you better punch that fire up over there a little, huh?
Does seem to be getting chilly in here.
Now, what do you mean by that, Marshal?
You killed Al yourself. Didn't you, Jesse?
You're out of your mind.
You woke up and saw Red steal the money and take off, and it gave you ideas. You slipped over and knifed Al in his sleep. You knew Lawson had got the blame for it.
Well, sure. Sure, because he did it.
He said he didn't.
Dang stove.
Well, Marshal, did you expect him to tell the truth?
He was dying, Jesse. Knew he was dying. I think he told the truth.
I see. His word against mine. Word of a thief.
I didn't say I could prove it, Jesse. But you did it, though. We both know that. And sooner or later, I'm going to get you for it.
Yeah.
Chester, I think it'd draw better if you'd open the damper.
Quiet night, Mr. Dillon.
It was a quiet night last night.
And 2 men who were alive last night are gone tonight. Sure makes you stop and wonder.
Well, at least one thing hasn't changed. That coyote's still there.
I guess there'll always be coyotes around, Mr. Dillon. What are you going to do about Jesse Wells?
Oh, I don't know, Chester. He's guilty. You can see it written all over him, but there'd be no use bringing him in. I haven't got one piece of evidence. I don't know.
Yes, sir. She's quite a woman. Mercy. Quite a woman.
Yeah, she is that all right.
Matt? Is that you?
Good evening, Miss Morley. Who are you looking for tonight? Can't be Red Lawson. He's dead.
So is my husband. You forgotten?
My deepest sympathy.
Don't bother. You know better. I am sorry about Red, though. He was nice. You're the one who did it, aren't you, Matt?
Yeah. Yeah, I killed him. For you. I couldn't do anything else.
I don't know why you say for me. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, sure, I know.
You know. You don't know anything. You don't know how it feels to sit in a house alone with your husband dead. No one in town coming near you. Like he was poisoned or something. Sure, I don't feel sorry about Al, but I would have once. He's the one who changed me, made me feel different.
I know it wasn't your fault.
And you didn't even come to tell me he was dead. Why not? It's part of your job, isn't it?
I didn't come and tell you, Miss Morley, because I figured that you'd... Chester?
Yes, sir?
Would you mind walking on ahead? I'll meet you on the Texas Trail in a few minutes.
Well, All right, Mr. Dillon, if you say so. Well, I get friendly every time.
Why just send him away, Matt?
I was just wondering if you were going to be home later tonight.
I could be.
Around 10 o'clock, say?
Sure, Matt. I'll be there.
Well,
Hiya, Kitty.
Chester and I were trying to think of some way to rescue you from Ava's clutches.
Only one thing, though, Mr. Dillon. I wasn't sure you wanted to be rescued.
Kitty, has Doc been in tonight?
Oh, I haven't seen him, Matt.
Chester, will you see if you can find him and have him meet me here?
Yes, sir. Right away, Mr. Dillon.
Kitty,
Yeah.
I wonder if you'd help me with something.
Well, sure, Matt. What?
Drop a hint to that bartender, Jesse Wells, that it might be smart to slip out of here and pay a visit to Ms. Morley's around, say, 9:45 tonight.
All right. Is it anything you can talk about?
I don't exactly know how to talk about it, Kitty. I got a murder on my hands. I know who the killer is, and I can't touch him.
So?
So I'm going to try to make him touch me.
Oh. All right, Matt. I'll take care of it. Will you be around for a while?
Yeah. I'll be here till about 10.
Who is it?
It's Matt Dillon. Who'd you think?
Just a minute.
Well, hurry up. Let me in.
All right, Dillon, come on in.
Well, Jesse, I thought you were working.
I was, till just a few minutes ago. Well, what's on your mind?
I think Mr. Dillon probably wants to ask me some questions or something.
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. Jesse Wells, for instance.
What?
You didn't tell me he was going to be here, Ava.
Well,
What do you mean she didn't tell you? Wait, Ava, what about this? You were expecting him. You knew he was coming.
Of course you knew I was coming.
You and Matt Dillon. For how long? And what kind of a fool does that make me?
I'm afraid you were born a fool, Jesse. That's why she picked you.
She's so wonderful you said if only Al didn't stand in our way.
I didn't tell you to kill him. I didn't mention it once.
You didn't have to. Just kept dropping hints, leading me on. And all the time you and Matt Dillon.
She's too smart for you, Jesse. You should have realized that.
Yeah. And instead I played right into your hands. Both of you.
How, Jesse?
Killing Al, getting him out of your way, giving the two of you a clear field.
You're under arrest for murder, Jesse.
What? Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you? Both of you would. Sit around and laugh about it while you're waiting for me to hang.
I said you're under arrest. Now hand over your gun.
Oh, you don't, Dillon. You're not going to carry it that far. You're not taking me in for something both of you wanted me to do.
Hand over your gun, Jesse.
You want my gun, you got to take it away from me.
Get away from the door.
Oh, sure, I'll get away from you.
Hold it, Mr. West!
Are you all right, Chester?
Yes, sir. It was close, but he missed me.
Well, you two didn't miss him. I don't know which one of you fired first, but either bullet would have done it.
Well, you got his confession all right, Mr. Dillon. Doc and I heard every word from the front porch there.
We sure did. Only one thing, though, Matt. He didn't implicate the woman in it.
Yeah, I know. Will you take charge, Doc?
Oh, sure. Be glad to. Part of my job, you know.
Matt,
All right, Chester, let's go.
Matt? Could I see you for a minute before you go? Matt?
What's it add up to, Mr. Dillon? 3 men have been killed since this same time last night.
Yeah.
And you know, Mr. Dillon, I think maybe it's kind of all her fault. And you can't pin a thing on her. My.
Well, there's one lucky thing. There aren't many women like her.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lillian Bayef, with Harry Bartell, Lawrence Dobkin, and Jack Crucian. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Strange Island tells the remarkable story of a tropical paradise that sank into the sea. Hear all about it on Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, tomorrow night on most of these same stations. Hear about the miracle that saves Tarzan from drowning and brings the island back from the sea. Remember, it's yours for thrills on tomorrow night's exciting adventure with Tarzan, created by Edgar Rice Burroughs and brought to you now by CBS Radio. Clancy Cassell speaking. And remember, Broadway's My Beat brings you startling mysteries Saturday nights on the CBS Radio Network.
Gunsmoke, brought to you tonight by Plymouth, with an invitation for you to visit a Plymouth dealer's tomorrow. Meet the new Plymouth and enter the big $25,000 contest. Throughout Kansas and in the territories on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers. And that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
The cook sure must have had a bad night, Mr. Dillon.
Well, how do you figure that, Chester?
Well, sir, I never saw so much chili pepper on a couple of poor eggs. He must figure everybody's got a hangover this morning.
Almost everybody usually has of a Sunday around here.
Well, now, I clean forgot all about it being Sunday. So that's why Jim Cobbett's all dressed up over there, huh? First time I've ever seen him with his hair combed in.
Well, haven't you heard about Jim, Chester? He's going to get married. He's got his wife-to-be coming in on the train from back east today.
Jim Cobbett?
Yeah.
Well, now, what sort of a woman would that be, Mr. Dillon, who'd come clear to Dodge City to marry a fellow like Jim?
No, Jim's a good man, Chester. It's just that, well, living out on that homestead of his year after year has made him grow a little off-center, so... Loneliness will do that to a man sometimes.
Morning, Marshal. Chester.
Morning, Hank.
Well, what do you think of that old goat Jim Cobbett getting himself hitched?
It's a fine thing, I'd say.
Well, Jim's no older than you are, Hank Lewis.
Older, maybe. A lot less respectable.
Now you're talking your usual nonsense, Hank.
Am I, Marshal? What about Jim's first wife who disappeared off of that place he had up north on Hackberry Creek? Just plain disappeared, she did. Jim never explained that. And nobody ever saw her again, either.
Oh, you're worse than an old woman with your gossip, Hank.
Jim's never done anything to you, Hank.
Nothing except stake his homestead on the only spring south of the Smoky that didn't dry up. Cheated me out of it, that's what.
He filed his claim 2 weeks before you did, Hank, and everybody knows it.
Sneaked into town, that's what he did. Sneaked into town, behind my back.
Still telling your lies, ain't you, Hank Lewis?
Now, you keep away from me, Jim. Keep away.
I've never bothered you, Hank. But I hear you talking around Lila. When she gets here, I'll hurt you. I'll hurt you bad.
What is it you want to hide from her, Jim? Maybe that business about your first wife?
All right, don't touch that gun, Hank. Not a move.
You arrest him, Marshal. You saw it.
Get up.
Put him in jail now. I didn't touch him.
Shut up. Now, you're just lucky you weren't killed. Now, you get out of here and stay away from Jim. It's his wedding day, and if I find you bothering him again, I'll throw you in jail. Now, go on, move.
Fine. All we got around here, make it. Nothing happens.
Sorry to make trouble, Marshal, but I won't hold for his making that talk around Lila.
Oh, forget it, Jim. Just keep clear of him for a while. What time's the wedding?
About 3 o'clock. At least that's when the preacher said he'd come down.
It'll be at the church, won't it, Jim?
Well, no. The preacher thought maybe it'd be better to do it somewhere else. It's because of...
Yeah, sure, Jim. Dodge City House would be a fine place, wouldn't it?
That's just what I'd planned, Marshal. I brought a jug of corn in with me in case anyone came around, maybe.
Jim, I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm going to be there for sure.
Yeah, me too, Jim. I certainly do enjoy weddings. I never got married myself, but I sure do like to watch.
See you later, Jim.
Sure, Marshal.
We'll be there, Jim. Bye.
Jim's bride, Lila, turned out to be a handsome, high-strung woman with nervous black eyes and a manner that bespoke a gentle breeding and background. I watched her, and I wondered how she'd ever make out in this crude, raw country she'd chosen to come to. It was never mentioned how she and Jim had got together, but the few friends who gathered for the wedding didn't care. We were all pleased that Jim finally had a wife to break the loneliness that he'd set upon himself for so long. And after the brief ceremony at the Dodge City House, we told him so.
Well, it's about time, Jim. If you don't mind my saying so, ma'am, you should have filed on him long ago.
Why, yes. I mean, of course.
Open the jug on the table there, Si. It's good corn.
Well, thank you, Jim. My throat is a mite dusty.
Help yourselves to the liquor, boys.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Jim. And Miss Cobbett, my best wishes to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Marshal Dillon.
Now, you make Jim bring you to town and see us once in a while. He never came in much when he was alone out there.
Oh, I'm sure he will, Marshal.
I sure hope so, ma'am.
Help yourself to the jug there, Chester.
Well, thank you, Jim. If I can get it away from Si long enough, I will.
You stay in here tonight, Jim?
Well, no, Marshal. I brought the wagon on account of Lila here, and it's a slow way of traveling. Take a day and a half at best.
But where will we sleep tonight, Jim?
Oh, I got some blankets, Lila. We'll be fine.
You mean out on the prairie?
Well, sure. We'll bed down in the wagon if you're afraid of snakes.
Oh, snakes can't get to you if you're in the wagon, man.
But what about everything else? Indians.
No Indians have been seen around here for months, I know.
Oh, no, you're wrong, Jim. A man from Walnut Creek told me he run into some Pawnees a couple weeks ago. Only about a dozen, though.
Pawnees?
Well, they didn't bother him, did they, Si?
No, they didn't, Marshal.
Yeah, you see, Lila?
Well, they didn't bother him because he saw him first. He hid himself under a bank in the creek.
Are there many Indians around?
Oh, no, very few, man.
Well, the Army's been after him pretty steady ever since them crows raided the Gillette place. The Indians been making themselves scarce last few months.
What happened at the Gillette place?
They had a little trouble, that's all, Lila.
Little trouble. They killed Bob and rode off with Mrs. Gillette and the child, that's all.
Oh, no.
Si, why don't you go get yourself another drink, huh?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about doing that. Well, no, I suppose it'll be easier on Mrs. Gillette once she learns to talk Crow, but still, it's a hard life on a white woman, suddenly being made a squaw.
Oh.
The jug's almost empty, Si. You better hurry, huh?
By golly, hey, fellers, I got another swatter coming up.
Liquor's working on the side, Lila. Don't pay no mind.
Jim, is it true what he said about that poor woman?
Now, Lila, don't you fret about that.
Is it true? I want to know, Jim.
Yes.
Jim, if you stayed in Dodge City tonight, well, you could start out before dawn tomorrow, and maybe it'd...
No, Marshal. Jim thinks it's best we leave tonight.
There's nothing to fear, Lila, but if you'd rather stay, we can...
No, we'll go, Jim. If you'll excuse me, I'll go change into something more suitable. Goodbye, Marshal.
Goodbye, ma'am. We'll see you in Dodge City real soon, I hope.
Of course. I'll be down shortly, Jim.
Maybe it was best that way for Lila to face out her first night on the prairie, not far from Dodge. Nothing would bother him that close to town, and it'd make it easier for her on the next night. And they left. And that's all we heard about him for, a month or so. Dodge City was fairly quiet, except for 1 week when a Texas herd arrived. 2 boys were killed the next night, and another a few days after. But then things cooled off and became peaceable again.
Hank Blues is in town, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, no, Chester. Well, there ought to be a law against it, that's all.
He said he was coming here to see you in a few minutes.
Look, you talk to him, Chester. I think I'll go upstairs and pick on the doc for a while.
Oh, he doesn't want to see me, Mr. Dillon. I'll send him up when he comes.
Chester, no.
Yes, sir, but he'll ask me where you are, sir, and then what am I going to tell him?
Marshal, I want to talk to you.
Well, all right, Hank. Go ahead, talk.
You think I was lying about Jim Cobbett, don't you? Well, listen to this, Marshal. Lila's disappeared, too.
What?
I saw it with my own eyes. I saw she isn't there.
What are you talking about, Hank?
I'm telling you, Marshal, Lila's gone, just like Jim's first wife up on Hackberry Creek. She's plain disappeared.
Well, go on.
Well, I got a runty bay mare that's always running off, and I rode by Jim's place to see if he'd seen her. Jim was just sitting there, and he hardly paid me any mind at all. He was all alone, and when I asked him about Lila, he just walked off, wouldn't say a word.
Well, maybe she was just out on the prairie somewhere.
Then she stayed a long time. I was back next day and still didn't see her. Stock's gone, too.
When was this, Hank?
About a week ago. Now, Marshal, I think you ought to get out...
I do my own thinking, Hank.
Well, all right. But you better get out there, Marshal. I've told you now.
Yeah, you've told me, and you can forget it. Just stay away from the Cobbett place, you understand?
All right, Marshal. I've done my duty. You better do yours.
Goodbye, Hank.
Well, Goodbye.
What are you going to do, Mr. Dillon?
The only thing we can do, Chester. Go saddle our horses, will you? I got some things to clean up around here.
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Big doings at all Plymouth dealers. Tomorrow, go in and meet the new Plymouth, the new kind of low-priced car. And enter the big $25,000 Meet the New Plymouth contest. All you do is look her over, compare, ask questions. There'll be people on hand to explain the new body design, new type suspension, new springing, how they combine to give you a ride that's unbelievably smooth. The first truly balanced ride in the low-priced field. Believe me, you'll be enthusiastic. So just transfer that enthusiasm in 50 words or less to a contest entry blank. Tell what you like most about the new, truly balanced Plymouth for 53. That's all there is to it. And you may win a 53 Plymouth or one of hundreds of cash prizes. But entries must be mailed by Monday midnight. So hurry. Get an official entry blank containing all the easy rules tomorrow when you go in to meet the new 53 Plymouth.
Now, the second act of Gunsmoke.
Sure looks quiet around here, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Yeah, come on. They're probably inside.
You think Lila's here, don't you, sir?
We'll soon find out, Chester. Hello, Jim.
Hello, Marshal. Chester?
Hello, Jim.
Come in.
How have you been, Jim?
Hank Lewis told you, didn't he, Marshal?
Where is she, Jim?
Hank Lewis said I killed her, didn't he, Marshal?
Oh, now, Jim, you know I don't pay any attention to what Hank Lewis says.
Then why'd you come here, Marshal?
To help you. If you're in trouble.
Lila isn't here. And I'm in trouble, all right.
Well, what happened, Jim? Where is she?
I don't know.
What?
Well, the Indians, party of Crows, they took her. They took her.
Indians? My goodness.
You mean you were raided here?
Maybe 10 days ago, a war party, about 12 Crows.
Well, what happened?
Lila was out there by the spring. It was just getting dark. I was sitting on the floor right there, mending the saddle I'd torn the stirrup off of when I heard her come running up the path out back. All in sweat, yelling.
Now, what is it? Oh, I saw something out there. Oh, Jim. Jim, I think it was an Indian.
Come inside. Get on the floor in the corner there. How many did you see?
Oh, just him. I saw his skin behind that little rise. Oh, Jim, don't let him get me.
Easy now, Lila.
Oh. Oh.
Well, I don't see a thing out of this window. Look over here. Nothing. Must have heard you yelling.
Oh, Jim, what'll we do?
Stand them off, that's all.
Oh.
Wait a minute. There's one.
Oh, no.
Getting hard to see.
Jim, the other side. They'll sneak up on the other side.
Might be one behind that log out there.
Oh, no.
But we'll just wait.
Oh.
They'll get bolder in the dark. I can pick them off easy.
Oh, Jim. Jim, if they'll carry me off like they did that other woman. I can't stand it, Jim!
Here. Take that 6-year-old.
Yeah, I will. I will.
He won't take you while I'm alive. I promise you that, Lila. Wait a minute. They're down at the corral.
Oh, no.
They're after our horses. That'll show them. Here he goes. There was one behind that log.
Oh, Jim, I can't stand it.
Yeah, they're sneaking up on us. We'll just wait. Let them get in the open. Wait till a little more. Then when they jump and run on us,
Oh. Go on, Jim. What happened then?
Yeah. What'd they do when they rushed you?
Well, one of them must have got in the window behind me. When Lila screamed, I was knocked out, and when I come to, the engine was gone. Lila was gone, too.
Were you shot, Jim, or what?
No. The engine must have got behind me somehow and clubbed me, that's all.
Did you try to follow him?
How could I, Marshal? They run off. The horses stole them.
Yeah, I see.
Anyway, I was out a long time. There wasn't a sign of anybody when I come to.
Well, they could be in the Rocky Mountains by now. We'd never find them. I'll report this to Colonel Jenkins at Fort Dodge, and he can spread the word through the Army post.
Thanks, Marshal.
I'm sorry, Jim. But I guess that's all I can do for you.
Sure, Marshal.
Come on, Chester. Let's take a look around outside and then get back to Dodge City.
Yes, sir. So long, Jim. I sure am sorry it happened.
So long.
Jim's pretty broke up, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah.
That's terrible. And her a squaw now.
Yeah.
My, aren't those pretty, Mr. Dillon?
What?
Hey, that bunch of columbine there, growing right in a row. I think I'll just put one in my hat.
No, wait a minute, Chester.
Huh?
I wouldn't pick them, Chester. They're too pretty to pick, huh?
Well, all right, sir. Jim's stock is gone, all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mr. Dillon, Jim Cobbett ain't the luckiest man in the world, is he?
No, he sure isn't, Chester. Come on, let's get out of here. It was the day after we got back to Dodge City that the trouble started, as I expected it would. Chester spread the story about the Indians kidnapping Lila Cobbett, and it wasn't long before some of the men began to question it. And a group of them, headed, of course, by Hank Lewis, came to see me.
Marshal, we want to know when you're going to arrest him.
Hank, it'd be better if you'd let somebody else do the talking. Your record against Jim Cobbett's pretty strong.
Marshall's right, Hank. You always did talk too much anyway.
I want justice done, that's all, and I mean to get it.
Oh, shut up, Hank. Marshal, Hank sort of talked us into thinking you don't aim to do anything about Jim Cobbett. Is that true?
Well, what's your idea, Merritt?
Go out there and arrest him and find Lila's body if you can.
You think Jim murdered her, is that it?
Looks that way. You sure don't believe his story, do you, Marshal?
No, not all of it.
Jim did her in just like his first wife, that's what.
It's a sure thing, Marshal. No Injuns would have stolen the woman and left Jim lying there without scalping him. Injuns just being made that way.
Merritt, I don't know what happened out there, but I'm going to find out.
Then what are you waiting for, Marshal?
The doc.
The doc? What's he got to do with this?
Well, Miss Prilliffew had a baby this morning. The doc was up all night, and he's sleeping today. We're going to ride out to Jim's tomorrow.
Well, I don't know what you need the doc for, but we'll wait and ride out with you.
You won't ride anywhere, Hank. When I need a posse, I'll ask for it. I don't want a single man of you anywhere near the Cobbett place. Is that clear? All right, now get out of here. I got work to do.
It's a mighty lonely-looking place, Matt. Yeah, it is.
I wonder what Lila Cobbett thought when she first saw it.
She must have been mighty fond of Jim to come here at all, seems to me.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Jim's still there.
Isn't that him there? Down by the corral there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He's got a new horse. Hello, Jim.
What are you doing here, Doc?
I had to bring the doc, Jim, to perform a sort of autopsy.
Autopsy?
On Miss Cobbett. It's necessary, Jim, or I wouldn't do it.
Marshal?
Now, don't do it, Jim. You wouldn't have a chance.
No.
Take his gun, Chester.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jim, let's you and me go on into the house, huh? I don't imagine you want to watch this.
Well, where is it, man?
You want to tell him, Jim?
Over there, under that row of columbine.
Well, So, that's why you wouldn't let me pick any, Mr. Dillon.
I watered the ground a lot to make it hard.
It was a good job, Jim. Come on, let's go in the house.
Shovels out back of the corral.
I'll get it. Well, all that water and it didn't do any good.
In the house, Jim sat with his back to the wall, his hands clasped tightly across his knees. He was so gaunt and leathery that I wondered if he'd bothered to eat anything at all since this had happened. He just sat there as if waiting to be sentenced and not caring very much one way or the other. Finally, Doc and Chester were finished, and they came into the house.
We put her back, Jim. Right where you had her.
Yeah. And it wasn't easy, Matt.
Yeah, I know. But what did you find?
Well, she was killed by a .45. Fired at close range. Bullet entered her head just under...
Never mind, Doc.
Jim's gun here is a .45, Mr. Dillon.
You want to tell us about it, Jim?
You think I killed her, Marshal?
Well, it looks that way, Jim. But I still can't believe it.
Thank you, Marshal.
If you did it, Jim, you're going to hang for it.
The crows didn't attack the house, Marshal. They never aimed to. They just dodged around out there, some of them, to cover for the ones that ran the stock off. They didn't want to fight, just to stalk.
Yeah, it's happened before.
Lila screamed and screamed. I guess she went kind of crazy. Then I heard a shot. First I thought she was shooting at the engines. Then I saw her on the floor there. I didn't care after that. They could have come right in there. They could have done anything they wanted. I didn't care.
You'd given her your 6-gun, is that it?
Yes.
The crows didn't bother you after that? They just took the horses and left?
I didn't care about them. I buried Lila out there right away. And I sat there on the ground all night. Everything had been all right, Marshal, but when Hank Lewis came by, I got scared. I didn't want to talk to him, but I knew what he'd say. So, I put water on the grave and tried to hide it. Except for the flowers I'd planted. I just couldn't not have planted flowers there.
He's telling the truth, Matt. Yeah, Jim isn't lying.
No, sir, he certainly isn't.
Well, there's no reason I know of why Jim should stand trial.
What about Hank Lewis, Mr. Dillon? He'll make trouble.
Well, the three of us here have heard the story and seen the evidence. Hank's talk doesn't mean a thing. I have no cause to arrest Jim.
Then I can go, Marshal?
Go? Go where?
I don't want to live here anymore. It's like the other place up north after my first wife rode off. She just said goodbye and rode off one day. I was ashamed of that, so I never told nobody what happened. I left the place. Like I'm leaving this one.
Well, you got to settle down sometime, Jim.
No, I don't. I got bad luck both places. I won't settle down no more.
We won't stop you, Jim.
I think I'll go now, Marshal. I don't want to spend another night here. I'll get my things together.
Yeah. We'll wait outside. Come on, Chester. Doc. A half hour later, Jim was packed and ready to go. Silently, he shook hands with each one of us and then mounted and rode off. Yeah, the prairie had dealt hard with Jim Cobbett, but the man was too tough and dry not to survive somehow. He wouldn't try again to be happy, but he'd live. He'd make his way. We watched him disappear while the sun went and the land cooled and became still and quiet.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John McIntyre and Jeanette Nolan, with Paul Dubov, Jack Crucian, and Harry Bartell. Harley Bear is Chester, and Howard McNear is Doc. Gunsmoke was brought to you by Plymouth, along with a reminder that you visit your Plymouth dealer tomorrow and enter the Meet the New Plymouth contest. Remember, entries must be mailed before Monday midnight. Clancy Cassell speaking.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
What'll it be, mister?
I got away. Me shot a rye, bartender.
I ain't too sure I got any left.
Well, make sure. What kind of a saloon is this, anyway?
There's other saloons in Dodge.
What if I like this one?
If I don't have any rye, you might not like it.
You're talking to the wrong man. You go look for that bottle if you want to live. Now, go on.
All right. Never said I wouldn't look, did I?
Hey, you're a stranger in Dodge, ain't you?
It beats living here, mister, and being drunk to boot.
I'm only a little drunk. No business of yours.
Go on back to your pigs. Go home. Milk your cows.
Yeah. You talk pretty big. You know what? I think you're a gunman.
And you ought to have sense enough to keep your mouth shut.
What's your name, anyway?
I killed men for asking that. You're so crazy, I'll tell you. My name is Ken Creed.
Ken Creed?
I never changed it.
Oh, the way I've heard it, Ken Creed's pretty fast with a gun.
Well, you heard right. Now, shut up.
Here's your rye, mister.
You're a better bartender than I thought.
Hey, Creed.
I told you to Well, now look at you.
Sure, look at me. You may be fast, Creed, but you ain't smart. Not with my gun aimed right at your belly.
Makes it kind of dangerous to take a drink around here, don't it?
For you it does. I'm sorry it's got to be this way, Creed, but I am a little drunk. I can't take any chances.
Man with a gun in his hand, he's taking chances, friend. Especially when he's pointing it at me.
Still talking big, ain't you? Go back to my pigs, huh? I'm gonna kill you for that. I'm gonna be the man that killed Ken Creed.
Rest of that man ain't been born yet.
All right, put the gun away, mister.
Who are you?
I'm a U.S. Marshal. Put it away.
You ain't arresting me.
No, it was self-defense. He looked away from you when I yelled, and he was drunk. But he drew first, all right.
Then I'll put my gun away.
Chester, get a couple of men and take his body out back, huh?
Yes, sir. Give me a hand here, will you?
Your name must be Dillon.
It is?
I'm Ken Creed, Marshal.
Arizona?
You hear of me.
Who ran you out?
Nobody runs me out anywheres, Marshal, including Dodge.
I don't like gunmen, Creed. Cause trouble here and I'll run you out.
I hear to you too, Marshal. Your hand is a gun.
I'm still alive.
Didn't mean a thing to me. Shoot that drunk they just carried out. I ain't at all proud of it.
I know you're kind, Creed.
I think I'm gonna like Dodge.
You have a right to protect yourself here, but that's all. Don't forget it.
Mr. Dillon, that fella had a friend who's going to see he gets buried.
Come on, Chester.
Yes, sir. Who is that man?
His name's Ken Creed, Chester.
I never heard of him.
I have.
Oh, he's a gunman, you mean, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say one thing. He was mighty fast.
I'm not sure I ever saw anyone faster.
You seem worried, Mr. Dillon.
Chester Creed's killed a lot of men just to build his reputation, but that's all he cares about. You didn't hear him, but he said he wasn't proud shooting that man in there. What he meant was he'd like to kill me. That'd make him proud.
Oh. You think he'll try?
He'll try.
Then why don't you go out right now and shoot him down?
I'm a lawman, Chester, not just a gunfighter. Why should I risk my life to satisfy whatever's wrong in Ken Creed's head?
Yes, sir, you're right. I guess I just wasn't thinking.
If he breaks the law, I'll fight him, but I won't fight him over anything as stupid as reputations and the like.
No, sir. I sure do wish he'd haul himself out of here, though.
Well, that isn't likely now. There's no use worrying about it.
Say, I've got an idea. Maybe you ought to wire Abilene and get Mr. Hickok to come over here for a little visit.
You think I'm afraid of Ken Creed?
Oh, no, sir, it isn't that, Mr. Dillon. I just thought maybe he'd leave town if there was more than one man to face.
Creed's as fast as any man I ever saw, Chester. Maybe he can beat me. I don't know. And I sure don't like the idea of dying. But I got over being afraid of it a long time ago.
Yes, sir, I know.
And if I asked Wild Bill for help, he'd come expecting 20 men like Creed, not one. Now, why don't you go upstairs and get Doc? He said he wanted to have supper with us at Delmonico's tonight.
All right, sir. I'll go get him.
Could you spare some more of that coffee, Matt?
Well, you're paying for it, Doc. Here, help yourself.
Thank you. Yes. Well, I won't be able to pay for anything much longer if business doesn't pick up some around here.
Doc, why don't you get a steady job back east in a hospital or something?
I worked in a hospital once, Chester.
Well, why'd you leave?
Oh, I didn't like it much.
That's not what you told me, Doc.
An affair of the heart, Chester. A woman of great beauty and an evil spirit.
Oh?
She never told me she was married to the head of the board of directors.
Oh.
No, she never said a word about it. Her husband mentioned it, though, very first time I met him. The night he fired me.
My goodness.
You're better off here, Doc.
Oh, yes, and safer, Matt. Oh, yes, much safer.
Evening, Marshal.
Hello, Creed.
And Chester. See him this afternoon. They tell me this is Doc. How are you, Doc?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
You work on horses or people, Doc?
Sometimes I prefer horses.
I don't know as I like that.
Leave him alone, Creed. What do you want here, anyway?
I don't like croakers. They kill people slow. I kill them fast.
You'll come whining for help someday, mister.
Why don't you carry a gun?
That's enough, Creed.
Is it, Marshal?
You heard me.
You got a gun, Dillon.
Get out of here.
If you're calling me, draw. Go on. Draw.
No. No, Creed. Not this time.
Sure, Marshal. Sure, you're not.
Oh, I'm sorry I got you into that, man.
Oh, you didn't, Doc. He's just trying to start a fight any way he can.
Well, fight? Well, what for?
Says maybe you can say he killed Matt Dillon. No other reason. Come on, let's get out of here.
Sit down, Matt.
Oh, thanks, Kitty.
Drink?
No, not tonight.
They're talking, Matt.
Oh? Who's talking about what?
People, about you and Ken Creed. They say he backed you down at Delmonico's earlier tonight.
I can't stop their talk.
I just thought you ought to know, Matt.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kitty.
What really happened?
He backed me down. It's true.
Then you got a reason for letting him.
No reason.
Sometimes I don't understand you one bit, Matt.
And try to understand Creed and his reasons. It's his play, this business.
Matt, he just came in, over there.
Yeah, I see him.
He doesn't look worried about anything.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, here he comes.
Yeah.
Saw you sitting here, Marshal.
So?
And that's a right pretty gal. You gonna introduce me?
Go back to the bar, Creed. Do your drinking there, huh?
That's not friendly, Marshal. My name's Ken Creed, miss.
Nobody asked you.
And peppery, and I like them that way.
Beat it.
Why, sure. When you get rid of your friend here, why, you and me can get together later, okay?
Creed, I've about had enough of you.
That's so, Marshal?
All you want is for me to draw on you, isn't it?
That's all, Marshal.
And if I don't?
Then you will, Marshal. Sooner or later you'll have to. I'll think of something.
I don't understand this, Matt.
It's simple, Kitty. Real simple.
You're not afraid of him.
I don't think I ever saw anyone handle a gun faster than Creed. But if I were afraid of men like that, I'd have to get out of this business.
He thinks he can kill you.
Anyway, he's willing to gamble on it.
Why?
It'll make him a bigger man, that's all. And I'm not interested in that. No matter what people are saying.
You're in a bad spot, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks that way.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, nature is kinder by far to her woodlands than we are. Forest fires, 9 out of 10, are man-made. To preserve for humanity all the products that spring from healthy timberland, redouble your efforts to eliminate forest fires. Crush out every cigarette. Break matches in two and grind them with your fingers. Douse campfires and turn them over until no ember remains. The extra moments you take sure before you abandon a campsite can save a fortune in property and save human lives. Now the second act of Gunsmoke.
Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, man.
You ought to paint this place, Doc.
Oh, yes, out of it. If I did that, people think I'm rich. They'd have one more excuse not to pay me.
Why don't you make them pay in advance?
Oh, well, that's a good idea. I'll start with you. You got $5?
I'm sorry, Doc. I'm not sick. I'm just looking for Chester. I thought he might be up here.
Well, I haven't seen him today, but I'm glad you came anyway.
Oh?
This talk that's going around, Matt, you got to put a stop to it.
About me being afraid of Ken Creed?
Yes, it's bad for you, Matt. It's very bad.
Doc, if I start shooting it out with every gunman that hits Dodge, it'll never stop. I'm hired by the government to enforce the law, not to build me a reputation or to add to somebody else's.
Yeah, I understand
if
that,
Creed
Matt.
breaks the law, I'll go after him. People ought to know that.
People aren't very smart sometimes, Matt.
Yeah, they sure aren't.
Mr. Dillon? Oh, hello, Doc.
Hello, Chester.
Where have you been, Chester?
No place. I was just coming down the street and somebody told me there's trouble at the Alfraganza.
Oh, what kind of trouble?
A fight. And they mentioned Ken Creed.
No.
Yes, sir. I didn't hear any shooting, though. I come looking for you right away.
Well, let's go over there. See you later, Doc.
Sure, Matt. And good luck.
Thanks.
Bye, Doc.
When did this happen, Chester?
Well, it couldn't have been very long ago.
Maybe Creed's killed another man in self-defense.
I don't know.
Well, we'll soon find out.
There's a man laying on the floor there.
Yeah, but I don't see Creed.
He ain't dead, Marshal. Just got knocked out.
Who did it, Sam?
Ken Creed.
Where is Creed?
He went outside a couple of minutes ago.
What happened?
Well, properly speaking, Marshal, it wasn't even a fight. This fellow was just standing there with his back to Creed and wasn't even talking to each other. All at once, Creed pulled out his gun and cracked him over the head with it.
I see.
Got no idea why he did it, Marshal. Just meanness, I guess.
Maybe. You better get that man up to Doc, Sam. He may be hurt worse than you think.
Sure.
Chester, come on.
Yes, sir. What do you make of it?
It's simple, Chester. Creed's got his fight.
You mean with you, Mr. Dillon?
I don't think he'll submit to arrest.
No, I guess he wouldn't.
I gotta stop him now.
Why don't we go after him with shotguns?
No. No, I'll face him.
I don't like it. Not one bit.
Now, this is as good a place to wait as any. Creed will be along soon.
It just don't make sense, Mr. Dillon, you having to shoot it out with a man like that.
No, I can't let him go any further. He'll kill somebody next, and I can't let some innocent man die.
Well, you're innocent. You haven't done anything.
I'm a marshal, Chester. There's a difference. And anyway, he hasn't killed me yet, you know.
Oh, no, sir. I didn't mean it. Well, of course he hasn't. You don't think he can, do you?
Chester, you know the saying, there was never a horse that couldn't be rode, nor a man that couldn't be throwed?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Creed's fast. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe it is. Here he comes now.
Right down the middle of the street.
Yeah.
I guess he knew you'd be waiting for him.
You keep out of it.
Yes, sir.
Looking for somebody, Marshal?
I'm looking for you.
Yeah, I
It's against the law to slug people in Dodge.
figured it was.
Sure. I don't suppose you'd come along to jail.
You know I won't, Marshal.
All right, go ahead and draw, Creed. It doesn't matter now.
All right, Dillon. I will.
You missed me, Creed. You hit my gun, but you missed me.
Right with your neck. Bullet glance into it?
Yeah,
I could kill you easy now, Marshal.
but you won't. You couldn't brag about shooting an unarmed man.
No, I couldn't. Well, get yourself another gun, Dillon.
You're fast, Creed. But you don't shoot very straight.
We'll see about that.
All right, I'll be back as soon as the doc patches me up.
Take your time. I don't mind waiting.
That was a chance shot, Creed. If you hadn't hit my gun, you'd be lying dead. Are you sure you won't come to jail?
You're wasting time, Marshal.
Yeah.
You hurt bad, Mr. Dillon?
I don't think so, Chester. But it's sure more than a flesh wound.
You know, if he'd have shot you when you was unarmed there, I'd have killed him sure.
No, I couldn't have stopped that. I'm going up to Doc's here, Chester. There's a gun in my desk drawer. Bring it up to me, will you?
Yes, sir, I'll go get it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I saw the whole business, Matt. Oh, yes, I saw it. I was just getting my things together here, and I was going to come down.
It's not too bad, Doc.
Well, come on over here now, and let me see it.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, sit down. Sit down, Matt, right here. That's it. Now, here. You wipe your hands with this.
Yeah, thanks.
That's good. Now, let me see this thing. Now, let me see there. Just missed the vein. You're lucky, Matt. You're mighty lucky.
Yeah.
See, you tore the muscle there. That's not bad, though, no. I'll just take a couple of stitches and you'll be as good as new. Almost.
Hurry it up, will you, Doc?
You just hold still now. You be very careful. See what's the matter. What's your hurry? Let's see.
I want to face Creed before my neck gets stiff. Might throw me a little.
That's all right now. You mean you're going back after him?
Of course. Of course I am.
That's all right now. But that's crazy, Matt. That's plumb crazy. Let's see.
He's all speed, Doc. Unless he's right next to him, and it's luck if he hits him. He missed me.
Yes, but he hit your gun, so.
But that wouldn't happen again in 1,000 times.
Yeah, well, maybe you're right.
You know, it takes nerve, Doc, to stand there and hold your fire for that 1 second you need to aim.
Yes, I know.
And I don't think Creed has that kind of nerve.
Well, I hope not, Matt, but we'll see. Ah, there you are. Now, just wrap a bandage around your neck and we're through.
How is he, Doc?
Well, he's pretty good, Chester. If he doesn't tear those stitches out.
Well, you can always sew me up again, Doc.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Is this the gun you wanted?
Yeah, that's it, Chester. Well, I'll see you later, Doc.
Matt?
Yeah?
I want to take a look at that. In the morning, you come by then.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
Where do you suppose he is?
He'll be along, Chester. Just like last time.
Maybe he's having a drink.
He's a fool if he is.
Everybody sure is staying off the street, ain't they?
Just as well. You better take cover, too.
I will. When Creed shows.
My neck's getting stiff already.
Maybe you better go look for him.
Well, I would, Chester, but there's too much chance of some bystander getting hit that way. I'd rather meet him in the street here.
Yes, sir.
What?
What's that?
I was in the Texas Trail over there. Come on, Chester.
Somebody must have been shot where they're all crowded around back there.
Yeah. All right. Here. Let me through here.
Will you?
Come on.
Let him
Out of the way, please.
It's Creed. And he looks dead to me.
All right, quiet. Quiet. Shut up! Now, who shot Creed?
I shot him. I shot King Creed.
All right, I'll take your gun, mister.
No, you won't. I'm a gunman too, Marshal. You ain't taking my gun.
You're drunk. Get your hands up.
I'll kill you too.
All right, throw him in jail, Chester.
Yes, sir. That fellow's pretty sober now, Mr. Dillon. Says his name's Chuck Carter. You want to talk to him?
No, I heard the whole story, Chester. There were plenty of witnesses.
Carter claims he don't remember what happened.
Well, he'd better remember. He'll probably hang for it.
You mean he started it?
It wasn't even a fight, Chester. It was just like that man Creed clubbed. Only Carter didn't club him. He shot him.
How?
Right in the back. Creed didn't even know it was coming.
Funny way for a man like him to die, ain't it?
Yeah, but maybe it's best this way.
How do you mean?
Well, if Creed and I had shot it out, the survivor would have been just that much more of a prize for some drunken bum like Carter.
And that had to have been you, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, maybe. But I'll never know for sure, Chester. Not now.
Well, Mr. Dillon, I'll tell you something. I was scared plumb to pieces.
Well, Mr. Proudfoot, I'll tell you something. So was I.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonnell, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, John Daner, and Ralph Moody. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke has been selected by the Armed Forces Radio Service to be heard by our troops overseas. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. It's a double celebration this coming Monday for radio station WTAR, Norfolk, Virginia. This coming Monday, WTAR celebrates its 30th anniversary, and on the same day, this popular, powerful Norfolk radio station becomes a CBS radio affiliate. Welcome to the ever-expanding coast-to-coast CBS radio family, WTAR, and for all our affiliates throughout America, this is wishing you a happy birthday, and your listeners happy listening at the Star's address. George Walsh speaking. America now listens to 110 million radio sets and listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely.
Oh, you finished in there already, Mr. Dillon?
Well, I just wanted to ask the agent a question, Chester.
All right, I was sort of hoping we'd be a few minutes longer.
Oh, you want me to go back in?
Oh, no. Of course not. I was just thinking, though, with it so near to stage time and all, I'd like to stay a little bit and see it come in.
Are you expecting somebody?
Well, no, it ain't that.
Well, what is it, then?
Well, I just like to see them stages come in, all. I get to figuring on all the miles they've come and all the folks that's rode in them and all the things that's happened. You know, Mr. Dillon, it kind of stirs a man up.
Hang on to yourself, Chester, because here it comes.
Oh, sure enough. Oh, ain't that a pretty sight? Oh.
Well, I've seen prettier, but we might as well wait around and see who's coming in, huh?
Jinkies, I enjoy that. Whoa, my.
These rigs ain't never exactly easy, but nothing special happened.
That's good.
You looking for somebody?
No, Chester, just sightseeing.
How's that?
He just likes to watch, that's all.
Well, now he can just watch me tend that baggage. I'll see you later, Marshal.
Sure, Jim.
Well, he don't need to act so smart about it.
Pardon me, gentlemen. I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
What's on your mind?
Billy Critz, sir, from Louisiana.
I'm Matt Dillon, Cret. This is Chester Proudfoot.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Critt.
Gentlemen, I was wondering if either of you could help me find a friend of mine.
Well, you don't have to do no more than just tell us his name, Mr. Critt. We know just about everybody in these parts.
It's not a he, it's a lady.
A lady? Well, now...
What's her name, Critt?
Russell. Miss Kitty Russell. You happen to know her, Marshal?
Know her? I just guess he does.
Yeah, I know.
I guess Mr. Dillon knows Miss Kitty just about as well as anybody in town, I
Well,
swear.
thank you, Marshal, if you tell me where I might find her.
Why, we'll take you to her. She's just down the street there.
Chester, will you go on down and pick up the mail and take it back to the office? I'll be there directly.
Well, sure, I'll do that, Mr. Dillon. But if you need any help...
Yeah, we'll call you if we need any help.
Thanks for your courtesy, Mr. Proudfoot. You say you can show me where to find Miss Russell, Marshal?
Oh, sure. I'll take you there. Come on. You, look a little young to have known Kitty very well. She's been here in Dodge for quite a spell now.
She's an old friend of the family, Marshal Dillon. Most especially of my older sister. They grew up together. So when I started out on this trip, there was nothing for it but that I look her up. Lucy'd never forgive me.
I see. Has your sister heard from Kitty lately?
Why, they've kept in touch, sir. Birthdays, Christmas, things like that. You know how ladies are.
Now, here we are, right in here.
But this is a saloon, sir.
You ever been in one before?
Oh, I have no objections for myself, sir, but we're looking for a lady.
Well, come on in, Critt. I think Kitty can speak for herself. Kitty,
I'll be with you in a minute, Matt, as soon as I get these bills added up. Sit down.
this is an old friend of yours, Kitty.
Huh?
From Louisiana, named Critt.
Billy Critt, ma'am. Well, there's no wonder you don't remember me. I was hardly big enough to notice when you last saw me.
You're Billy Critt.
That's right, ma'am. I'm Lucy's youngest brother. At your service, ma'am.
Well, Billy. Well, I remember you. Well, sure I do. Well, I hardly know what to say.
Well, I better leave you two old friends to get acquainted.
Oh, no, Matt, you might as
Now, I'll be
well
over
stay.
at the bar, Kitty.
Well, thank you, sir, for your help.
That's all right, Critt. I'll see you later.
Well, Billy, sit down.
Thank you, ma'am. The marshal was very accommodating when I told him you were a friend of the family.
Oh, the family. Well, it was all a long time ago, wasn't it, Billy?
I reckon it was. I didn't expect to find you in a place like...
Well, how's Lucy?
She's fine. Enjoying splendid health.
And the children? There are 3 of them now, huh?
4, ma'am. Sister Lucy had another little daughter just last month.
Oh.
But I sure am surprised, ma'am, to find you in a...
Say, you've grown tall, Billy. I do believe you favor your father.
They say I do. Miss Kitty...
That whiskey drummer's about to leave, Kitty, if you want to settle up with him.
Oh, yeah, Sam, I do. I'll be right there. You'll have to excuse me, Billy. There's some business I have to take care of.
Why, that's all right, ma'am. But, I wonder...
Yeah, Billy?
I wonder if you'd do me the honor of taking supper with me tonight at some suitable place?
Well, all right, Billy. Sure, that'll be nice. You come back this evening.
Kitty?
Yes, Sam.
I'll call for you, ma'am.
All right, Billy.
I guess you'll be staying at the Dodge House, Critt. I'll walk along with you. It's right near my office.
Well, thank you, Marshal. I'd just as soon get along there now.
Yeah?
Is it a good hotel?
The Dodge House? Oh, it's as good as we got.
No offense, sir, but... Well, I guess you look at things differently in the West.
We don't look at them differently, Critt. We just have to live differently, that's all.
And the people...
And the people don't take hasty judging.
I reckon I wasn't judging the people so much as the surroundings.
Well, surroundings aren't the most important thing out here, Crit.
Well, I know, sir, but... Well, I can't help believing Miss Kitty would be better off someplace other than a saloon. My people always told me she's a fine woman.
She is a fine woman. And I think maybe I'd leave Kitty's surroundings up to her.
Sorry we haven't a better eating place to show you, Billy.
It's all right, Miss Kitty. As Marshall said to me this afternoon, surroundings aren't the most important thing.
Matt said that, did he?
Yes, ma'am. And I can add that right now, at least, they aren't near as important as the company.
Well, thank you. Nobody's bothered to turn a compliment like that for me in a long time.
Miss Kitty, I'd like to ask you something.
Go ahead, Billy.
Sister Lucy, she never mentioned the kind of work you do.
I don't think I ever mentioned it to her.
Well, I can't help feeling, ma'am, that you'd be a lot happier if you were situated someplace else.
Are you talking about the Long Branch?
Yes, ma'am, I am. A saloon just isn't a suitable place for a lady. I know it isn't.
Now, Billy, look here.
There she is. Where? Now, look at there, will you?
Oh.
There's Kitty. There's Kitty. You better come on back to your own place, Kitty.
Come on back. The lady is with me.
We've been looking for you. Come on back to your own place, Kitty.
Yeah.
We drink better when you're prettying up the place.
That's so.
You go along, boys. I'm having the supper.
I'll take care of this. I've told you once, the lady is with me. Now, if you don't stop bothering her, I'll be forced to take it as a personal insult.
Billy.
What's she saying,
Well, I do believe the little fella is standing up for Kitty.
I'm warning you, sir.
Why, you fancy talking, young...
Boys, you go on back to the Long Branch. I'll be along directly.
I won't stand for them talking to you like that.
Billy, sit down. Now, go along, boys.
Don't you think I ought to pin his ears back for him, Weave, just once?
He didn't mean anything.
I don't know.
Now, you go on now. Drinks are on me.
Oh, free drinks?
That's what I said.
Well, sure thing, Kitty. Well, we'll see you later.
Sure.
Come on, Weave.
Sure thing. Go on, free drinks. I wish you hadn't done that, Miss Kitty.
You don't understand the way things are out here, Billy. They didn't mean anything.
But no lady has to submit to that sort of thing.
Oh, Billy, you got a lot to learn. Can I come in, Matt?
Huh? Oh, sure, Kitty. Come on in. I got one more paper to sign here, and I'll be right with you. Now, what can I do for you, Kitty? It's an official visit.
Well, I guess it is, Matt, in a way. I'm awful worried about that boy.
Oh? Well, what's happened?
Well, nothing's happened yet. At least I was able to stop it.
What do you mean?
Oh, last night we were having supper at Delmonico's, and Tal and Weeb came in, and they were drunk. You know how they act.
Did Crit take him on?
He was ready to. I managed to stop it this time.
This time?
Matt, that young fool's determined to defend my honor. One of these times, maybe next time, I won't be able to break it up with an offer of free drinks.
You may be right, Kitty, but not much you can do.
But can't you do something, Matt? Talk to him. Hurry him out of town. Take away his gun.
Kitty, use your head. I can't do that. The boy hasn't done anything. Nothing's happened.
And you're just going to sit around and wait till it does?
Now, I don't want trouble any more than you do, Kitty, but the boy has to grow up sometime.
You men have a fine idea what's grown up. Just settle it with a gun. Just shoot somebody, anybody. That's growing up in this town.
Kitty, will you listen to me? I know it's hard for you, but that doesn't change the way things are. I'll do what I can. I'll talk to him, but I can't...
You can't take his gun away. All right, Matt. I only hope he doesn't grow up just in time to get himself killed.
I tell you, Doc, Miss Kitty read him out something fierce. She did? Yeah. Oh, well, what were you doing there, Chester? Eavesdropping, huh? No, Doc, but I was in the back room there when Miss Kitty come in, and there wasn't no way for me to come out once she started going on, Mr. Dillon. And there wasn't no way for me to keep him hearing neither. Oh, yeah, that's right. She really gave Matt a hard time, did she? Oh, mercy, yes, she did for a fact. Why, she told him...
What did you think it was too hard on him?
Well, Kitty. Oh, yes. Well, now, Kitty, now, you've got to realize, Matt has a job to do. Yes, he has, and a tough job. Now, he can't take time to nursemaid every young pup who comes to town.
Oh, you men are all alike. Just leave him alone. Give him a gun and leave him alone. It'll all be settled one way or another.
Miss Kitty, Billy coming in.
I'm afraid he would. Well, I'll steer him away from the bar. Maybe that'll keep trouble away for a little while. Billy? Hello, Billy.
Good afternoon, Miss Kitty.
Come on over here and sit down, huh?
Thank you. I trust you spent a comfortable night.
Oh, yeah, Billy. Yeah, thank you.
Miss Kitty, I've come to tell you goodbye.
Huh?
I've decided to cut short my visit.
Oh. Well, Billy, it was nice to see you. Now, you be sure to give Lucy my love, huh?
I surely will do that, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, when are you leaving?
Right away, ma'am.
Well, you might as well go now while the weather's even. It's real hard traveling when it's stormy.
There he is now. The gent with the fancy talk.
Tal, you go along now.
You had something to say to me, sir?
Well, now, I don't know. I don't know if you'll still be hiding behind the gal's skirts again.
That's insulting, sir.
Chester, go get Matt.
Yes, I will, Miss Kitty.
If it's so insulting, what do you aim to do about it?
I'm inviting you out into the street with me, sir, right now.
Billy, Tal, you stop this right now.
Not this time, Miss Kitty. Did you hear me, sir? Will you step outside with me?
You mean you really know how to use that gun you're wearing?
I know how to use it. If you're not afraid.
You young smart aleck.
I'm waiting.
Doc?
Yes, look here, Tal, now. This is a pretty foolish thing to do, starting a gunfight over nothing.
I can't help it, Doc. This kid has a chip on his shoulder 10 feet high. Somebody has to knock it off. Might as well be me.
Well, he's just a youngster, Tal. Now, he doesn't understand.
He might as well do his growing up right now. Lead the way, you.
After you, sir.
All right, hold it. Everybody stay right here.
This is an affair of honor, Marshal. You have no right to interfere.
I'm interfering anyway. Now, give me your gun, Crit.
No, Marshal. You... Give it back.
I'll give it back when you leave town. All right, Tal. Go on, get out of here.
No, wait.
Go on. Before I let you cool off in jail. Now, go on.
Well, this is very humiliating for a gentleman.
Billy, this whole trip, this whole meeting with me seems to have been humiliating for a gentleman like you.
Why, ma'am, I was meaning to defend a lady's honor.
What lady? What honor?
Well, yours, ma'am.
Now, you listen to me. I've been getting along very well here without you to defend me. I live the way I want to live. I do what I want to do, and it's for my honor. Well, I haven't thought much about it for a long time.
But, ma'am,
I had about enough of you with your fancy manners and your fancy talk. The sooner you go back to your mama and your nice ways of living, the better I'll like it. Sam, I'll have a whiskey.
Sure. There's a stage in an hour, Crit. You might want to be on it, huh?
I'll be on it, Marshal. That's for certain.
You can pick up your gun before you leave. You were pretty hard on him, Kitty. And pretty hard on yourself, too.
Yeah, I was. It settled it, didn't it? I guess it isn't the first time a woman's had to be hard on herself to keep a man out of trouble. Has he gone?
Yeah, he's taken the stage.
Well, that's good. Oh, well, Matt. Come on. I'll buy you a drink.
Well, you, think I'm grown up enough?
Guess I'm gonna have to let you decide that.
and directed by Norman McDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Marion Clark, with editorial supervision by John Meston. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. This is George Walsh inviting you to join us again next week for another story on Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, but it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely.
Flag Miller sure is going to be mad about all this, Mr. Dillon.
I can't help that, Chester.
He's coming up the street right now, some of his men.
Yeah, I see him. Get the keys, will you?
Yes, sir. I can't say I blame him much at that, though.
There's not much to be done about it. The law's the law.
I reckon so, but still and all...
Come on.
That you, Marshal?
Yeah.
When am I going to get out of here?
Right now, Grody. All right, unlock it, Chester.
Yes, sir.
So you finally come to your senses, huh?
I didn't decide anything one way or the other, Grody. It's a court order from Judge Bent.
Well, at least he had gumption enough to clear me.
Now, you're not cleared exactly. He just ruled that there wasn't enough evidence to bring you to trial.
There wasn't no evidence. Except for them lies Flag Miller's girl told.
Now, come on, Grody. I'll give you your gun back.
Marshal?
All right, Flag. Just hold your horses. Now, you watch your temper, Grody. He's going to be pretty upset.
He ought to be firing me the way he done. Getting me jailed for stealing cattle just on the say-so of that old maid daughter of his.
Marshal, do I understand right? Are you turning this young cattle thief loose?
It's a court order, Flag. Judge Bent says there's no case.
No case? My girl seen him come riding in at daybreak the night them cattle was took, and he stood up and lied and said he hadn't been out of the bunkhouse.
It wasn't me doing the lying, you hard-nosed old badger.
You calling my daughter
All right,
a liar?
shut up, both of you. You know, Flag, it might have helped your case some if your girl had come in and told her story.
I told you why she wouldn't. She's too dang bashful to stand up in front of the public.
Well, maybe so, but the judge couldn't go on hearsay.
You call that justice, do you?
Under the circumstances, I do, yeah. Chester, do you get Grody's gun?
Okay. Well, I got another name for what you're doing, Marshal.
Oh, is that so? No, thanks, Chester. There you are, Grody.
Much obliged, Marshal.
I call what you're doing aiding and abetting an outlaw.
What are your plans, Grody?
I don't know. Hire on at some other ranch, I reckon.
There ain't a rancher in Kansas that's going to take on a branded thief, and I'll see to it that they know all about you.
Flag, you better rein in that mouth of yours.
All right, take it easy, both of you.
He shuts up, he won't be bothered.
Yeah, but he's right, Grody. You're not going to find a job around here.
I wasn't convicted.
You weren't cleared, either.
You telling me to ride out, Marshal?
You think of a better idea?
Maybe you're right. And maybe I don't care to live around this big-mouthed bull snake anyhow. Maybe I will ride out.
And good riddance.
You've been lucky, Flag. Real lucky. Don't push it too far.
I catch you within 10 miles of my place, I'll put a bullet through you on sight.
All right, that's enough, Flag. The kid's leaving. There's no call to get mouthy.
I'm just warning him.
Now, you want to get going, Grody?
Might as well. I guess you treated me as good as you could, Marshal. Thanks.
Good luck, Grody.
So that's the kind of law we got here. Pat a cattle thief on the head and wish him good luck.
If he is a cattle thief.
Are you doubting my word, Marshal?
Judge Bent doubted it.
Judge Bent. You and him's hand in glove. Coddle him, give him a nice warm cell to rest up in, then hand him back your gun, send him out to do it again. Maybe it's about time some of us made some law of our own around Dodge City.
Don't try it, Flag.
Wouldn't be the first time a rope and cottonwood limb cured a man of stealing cattle.
Did you hear me?
I heard you.
And I hope you heard me good. For your sake, Flag, I hope you heard me real good.
It sure beats me, Mr. Dillon. It's like them cattle just disappeared into thin air.
Well, that's awful rough country south of Flag's place. Must be 100 or more draws and gullies where you could hide 50 head of stock.
Well, I'd swear we covered 'em all these past few days.
Yeah. It looks like we'll have to try here in town and see what we can turn up.
Max, hold it. Wait a minute. Oh, what's old Doc carrying on about now?
I don't know. I'll see what he wants. You go ahead and start doing what I told you.
All right, sir.
See you later. Now, what's on your mind, Doc?
Say, Matt, what's this I hear about you running young Grody Beck out of town?
You're behind the times, Doc. That was 3 days ago.
Oh, well, I've been busy. Sorry to hear it, Matt.
You're sore because I ran Grody out of town. Flag Miller's sore because I coddled him. Well, the truth is I didn't do either one, Doc. Anyway, when did you start taking up for Grody?
I like him. He's a good kid. You know, he helped set a broken leg out at Flag's ranch a couple of months ago. Well, you can tell a lot about a man when you work with him like that.
Yeah? Can you tell whether he'll rustle cattle or not?
There wasn't a thing against him except that fool girl claiming she'd seen him ride out that night. And then she wouldn't even show her face in town to tell the judge about it.
Well, she's bashful, Doc.
Bashful, confounded man. If it's got to do with an outlaw or a killer or such like, there's nobody better than you. But when it comes to women, you haven't got the sense the good Lord give a rabbit.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Why, anybody with a half a brain would know why that girl lied.
How do you know she lied at all?
How did it...
Marshal, I've been looking for you.
Hello, Flag. What's the trouble?
I lost another 100 head of cattle last night.
Oh? Well, then Grody Beck wasn't guilty after all, was he?
You're saying that. I'm not.
It'd be kind of hard for him to steal cattle last night when he rode out of Dodge 3 days ago.
He may have rode out, but he didn't ride far.
What?
He was seen on my range this afternoon.
Now, look, Flag, it's possible your daughter's mistaken.
It wasn't my daughter that seen him. It was 2 of my riders. Or maybe you're claiming we're all a bunch of liars.
I know that boy, Flag, and he's not a thief.
Why don't you stick to doctrine and leave the law to them that can handle it?
Suppose you take that advice yourself, Flag.
Marshal, I already seen what they expect out of you. Leaving it up to you and Judge Benz cost me another 100 head of stock. So now I'm aiming to use some of my kind of law.
There's only one kind of law here, Flag. It's got nothing to do with some riled-up, brainless mob.
Got nothing to do with much of anything, far as I can see.
They may be slow sometimes, and they may have loopholes. Temporary ones, anyhow. But you know, it's got one thing that your so-called law never has. It's got a margin to take up the slack. A chance to back up and change a mistake before it's too late.
Grody Beck's had all the margin he's going to get.
That's no proof that Grody took him.
And just what was he doing on my range?
Well, it's just possible he was looking for some way to clear himself. But I'll know that when I find him and talk to him.
You better find him in a hurry if you're aiming to talk to him.
I better find him able to talk, Flag. If I don't, it's going to be the sorriest day of your life.
Well, look what drifted in.
Hello, Kitty.
Here, Matt, pull up a chair.
Ah, thanks.
Where you been for the last 3 days?
Trying to find out who stole Flag Muller's cattle.
Any luck?
No, not yet. Chester around?
Yeah, he's in that poker game over there in the far corner.
Oh, yeah.
He's been acting real funny, Matt. The last hour and a half, he sat in on every game in the house. He stays 10 minutes or so, and then he moves on to another table.
Well, I told him to.
What do you mean you told him to?
Well, just that.
Oh. Has it got anything to do with those cattle?
Yeah, I hope so. By the way, Kitty, Doc claims that Miller's daughter was lying about Grody Beck.
Of course she was.
Well, why did she do it?
Matt, when it comes to women, you haven't got the sense the good Lord gave a rat.
Oh, so help me, Kitty, if
Now,
I...
look, Matt. Grody is a very handsome young fellow, right?
Well, I suppose he is. I don't know.
Well, he is. You take it from me. And every girl in town knows it. He could have his pick of them.
All right, so he could have his pick.
What about the Miller girl? Her looks, I mean.
Well, she's not exactly the prettiest girl.
Say it right out. She's as homely as a mud fence. She's never had a man look twice at her in her life. You ever seen her in town on Saturday, the way she follows Grody around?
No, I never noticed it particularly.
Well, I have. So there you are, Matt.
There I am what, Kitty?
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I know.
Are you claiming that she lied to get Grody into trouble just because he wouldn't have anything to do with her?
It's been done before.
Yeah, maybe, but... But look, there's another thing now. Grody lied about leaving town. I just found out he's still here.
Yeah, well, I knew he was planning to stay. He stopped in here the day you let him out of jail. Just to talk. He has some crazy idea of clearing his name.
It looks like you know more about this than I do.
He's a good boy, Matt. He didn't steal those cattle.
Mr. Dillon, could I see you a minute?
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
Well, I think maybe I spotted somebody. Fellow at that table over where I was just playing that. Name of Pete Crow. Well, he's got an awful lot of cash for a man that looks as raggedy as he does.
Pete Crow? You know him, Kitty?
He's been in here the last 2 or 3 nights. Like Chester says, he's free with money. He pays for everything with $5 gold pieces.
Gold pieces?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what those cattle buyers on the strip pay off with.
Oh, really? Then he's sure enough your man, isn't he?
And I'm sure gonna find out soon, Kitty.
Watch him, Matt. He carries a knife in the back of his shirt. He knows how to throw it.
Thanks. Chester?
Yes, sir.
And if they ain't none of you fellas got the guts or cash to stay in the pot, then toss in your hand. The bet's on the table, boys. Been there long enough.
Crow, I want to talk to you.
Well, go ahead and talk, Marshal. Nobody's stopping you.
Let's move into that game room at the end of the bar there, huh?
Sorry, I'm too busy right now.
Chester, will you step behind him and take that knife out of his shirt?
Yes, sir.
Keep your hands on the table, Crow.
I got it, Mr. Dillon.
All right, Crow. Get on your feet.
You're making a big mistake, Marshal.
I don't mind. I get going.
You got no right to order me around.
Inside.
What do you think you're doing, anyway?
I want to know where you got that money you've been tossing around.
I figure that's my business.
Sure. And your business might be cattle rustling.
Got proof of that, have you?
No, but I got a good hunch you're the man I've been looking for.
The law don't convict nobody on hunch.
No, but Flag Miller probably would.
What are you talking about?
You got a choice, Crow. You can tell me the truth and take your chances in court, or you can walk out of here and explain to Flag Miller where you got that money.
You know what he'd do.
He wouldn't do anything if you got a good explanation. If you didn't steal his cattle.
I wouldn't have a chance. He'd know right off. He'd lynch me, sure. I'll tell you, Marshal. I'll tell you all about it.
Okay, start talking.
be them, Mr. Dillon. 15 or 20 of them just topping the ridge up there, see?
Yeah, that's about the size of Flag's outfit, all right. He didn't leave any of them at the ranch.
They're starting this way. Heading for home, I guess.
All right, Chester, let's wait for him here. I just want him out in the open in full moonlight in case he makes a move.
You reckon he'll try, Mr. Dillon?
We won't give him a chance to try if we can help it. You edge in behind him, Chester, so you can take his gun as soon as I call him on it.
Yes, sir, I'll do it. Here they come.
Yeah. Hey, Flag!
Who is it?
It's Matt Dillon. Over here.
The marshal, boys. Come on. You're riding late tonight, Marshal.
No later than you are.
Well, me and the boys been out hunting cattle rustlers. That right, boys?
I've been hunting the same kind of game, Flag. Now, what's more, I caught one.
You what?
We rode out here to pick up his partner.
Whose partner? Who are you talking about?
Your foreman there, Flag. All right, don't try it, Hawkins.
I'll take that gun, Hawkins.
What are you trying to pull? Are you claiming my own ranch foreman was partners with Grody Beck?
Grody Beck wasn't in on it. It was only your daughter's wild story that tied him in the first place. Hawkins' partner is a man named Pete Crow. And I got him locked up in Dodge.
Ain't never heard nobody named Pete Crow.
Yeah? That's not the way he tells it.
And he's lying.
He says the two of you had run the cattle off into the river bottom during the night. And he'd hold them there for the buyer to pick up the next day.
I tell you, I don't even know the man.
He knows you, Hawkins.
He's lying.
Yeah, well, he wasn't lying when he told me where you had your share of the payoff hidden. Chester and I just found it in the mattress of your bunk. Now, Flag, do you believe it now?
It wasn't just them two alone, Marshal. Grody was in on it, too.
No, you're wrong, Flag. Grody had nothing to do with it. Pete Crow told me the buyer was to pick him up tomorrow. Crow and Hawkins had him penned up in a dead-end gully in the river bottom.
But we caught him tonight with the cattle.
Oh, Grody's been trying to clear himself. He probably found him and was driving him back to your place.
And that's what he claimed. Marshal, I guess you were right. You said this could be the sorriest day of my life.
What are you talking about?
When we caught Grody with the cattle, we hung him.
Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Chester and I had left Dodge about 9 that morning. It was a good day, clear with a snap in the air. The horses felt it too, and they wanted to move fast. Not in the lope that we were holding them to. Chester took a couple of deep breaths and liked what he smelled.
It surely is a fine day, Mr. Dillon. A fine day.
I had some government papers to take over to Bill Holton at the post office in Pierceville, a place about 40 miles west of Dodge. Chester and I figured we'd stop overnight and ride back the next day. We followed the trail along the Arkansas and stayed with it as it left the river at Cimarron and cut across the prairie.
Looks like a big wagon train up ahead there at the crossing, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, sure looks like it, Chester. Chester was right. The dust cloud we'd seen became 30 and more wagons taking the Cimarron crossing. It was a shortcut of the Santa Fe Trail leading on southwest toward Raton Pass. We passed them, and our trail swung back to the Arkansas again. We rested, watered the horses a couple of times, and by afternoon we could see the warehouse, the store, and the post office, and a few of the other buildings of the town. It wasn't a big place, Pierceville. Maybe 50 people regular living there.
Funny.
Oh?
I don't know. It looks peculiar.
Yeah?
I just don't rightly know, sir. It's just funny. It's peculiar.
You mean nobody around?
Yes, sir, that's what I was thinking.
That's what I thought.
Mr. Dillon, what do you figure them horses are doing down there? It ain't right they should wander around like that without it. Mr. Dillon, they got their saddles on, too.
The horses were down the street, and as they heard us, their heads jerked up and they wheeled about and trotted off away and around out of sight. And we stopped. I listened. There was nothing to hear. An empty place, nothing to see. But there was a feeling in the town. You couldn't figure what. We walked the horses over to Bill Holton's post office.
You think maybe everybody in town is sick, Mr. Dillon?
No.
Or maybe dead? No, couldn't be that. There's no crows nor buzzards.
Bill. Hey, Bill.
Mr. Dillon, look yonder. The safe's open.
What? What? He wouldn't leave the place like this. Come on, Chester.
Sure is a funny thing, Mr. Dillon. I swear it gives me the willy-was. I never seen anything like it. Not a living soul in the whole...
Hold it, Chester.
Did you hear something?
I'm not sure. Just wait a minute. Thought I heard a kid crying.
I didn't.
Hey! Is there anybody around?
Maybe we ought to try the store, Mr. Dillon, huh?
Yeah. All right, keep your eyes open, Chester.
Yes, sir.
We'll take a look in the saloon first. The saloon was about 200 feet back up toward the end of town. But we didn't get that far. They stepped out behind us as we passed the livery stable, and we never had a chance to draw.
Get your hands up. Hi. Now hold them there.
We did, and I felt my guns lifted away. And then we got a look at what had crawled into Pierceville. There were 3 of them, and they were killers. Man gets to know the look in the eye of a killer. If you're lucky, you see it in time. Now, we weren't lucky that day.
It's the law, Brill.
Yeah? Where you from, mister?
Dodge?
Dodge. Hey, that's Dillon.
No.
It sure is.
You Dillon? Marshal Dillon from Dodge?
Yeah.
Okay.
You dirty...
Shut up, you...
You want to try that again?
We will. Don't fret yourself about that, Dillon. Keep moving.
Take him to warehouse, Brill?
Yeah.
Be a sight better to get rid of him, if you ask me.
I don't think so. Not right now. We might be able to help.
I've always wanted a U.S. Marshal to help me.
Listen, Will. You take away his gun, you watch him. He'll be on his belly begging to help.
They took us to the warehouse, and we found out what had happened to the folks who lived in Pierceville. They were all in there. The kids, the 6-month-old baby, the women, and the men. Inside, there were 6 more hard-faced men leaning against the wall near the door, their guns held lazily in their hands. They'd taken over the whole town, and for some reason, they were holding it.
Shut up! Every one of you! Shut up!
Lady, told you to keep that kid quiet. You want me to do it for you?
Mr. Dillon,
Be
you
quiet,
know what
Chester.
Yes.
Now, asking you again. Which one of you shot my kid brother? You hear what I'm saying? Which one? All right. Maybe you know this fellow just walked in here with his pal. He's a U.S. Marshal out of Dodge. His name is Dillon. I'm going to make him accountable for what you make up to do. When a man does a killing, he's accountable. Ain't that so, Marshal?
That's so?
Okay. One of these folks killed my kid brother. And unless he talks up, there's going to be a lot of killing around here. You get that? Now, you talk to him, Dillon. You explain the law. I'm a fair man. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. Don't nobody try nothing, because we'll be right outside. Don't try nothing.
Chester, there's Bill Holton over there. Come on.
Help us, Marshal.
Marshal, please.
Hi, Matt.
How are you, Bill?
Could be worse, I guess.
Mr. Holton, your face. What'd they do to you?
Oh, I was the first one they worked on.
Will you tell us what's happened, Bill?
Well, they rode in early this morning. Whole outfit. I figured them for trouble when I saw them. Straight off, I knew. A couple of them held me, knocked me around. The others grabbed 3 women, kind of for hostage, I guess. Brill, he's the leader. He cleaned out the safe.
What about the killing?
3 or 4 of our boys came up, saw what was happening, started in shooting, and these snakes hauled the women folk over to the post office door and kept them in front for shields.
Your boys stopped shooting then?
Yeah, sure. Dropped the guns where they stood. Brill's kid brother was already dead then. Brill kind of went crazy, swore he'd kill the women, burn the town. Then the outfit rounded up a couple more women. After that, everybody else. None of us wanted to see the women hurt. I guess we gave up too easy.
On account of his brother, huh?
He calls it murder. You heard.
They've kept you locked up in here ever since?
Yeah. He says he'll take us out 2 at a time and shoot us if we don't tell.
Do you know who it was?
No. Like I say, 3 or 4 fellas were shooting. Even they don't know which one of them it was.
Listen, Marshal. I'm Dave Maxon. I got a place outside of town. Listen, we got to do something quick.
Yeah, sure. Take it easy, will you?
My wife, that's her over there. She's got the baby. We come in this morning to get something at the store. You got to do something.
All right, Mr. Maxim. Now just take it easy, will you?
Look, there's 30 of us. The men, we could rush them. Some of us would get killed.
Now listen to me.
We got to get to the marshal.
I'm thinking all of us will get killed. And that's not the way. We got to do something. Yeah, I know.
Okay, what's it gonna be? Dillon, step over here. Well, what do you say?
I don't know. Seems to me you came here and broke the law. It's the chance your brother took when he got killed.
That was murder. He was shot in the back.
Maybe he got turned around looking for somebody to kill himself.
It was murder. I ain't gonna stand here arguing with you, mister. Who did it? You think I'm bluffing? I tell you I ain't bluffing. If I have to wipe out this whole stinking town, I'm gonna do it.
That doesn't get your brother back. You in the habit of killing women and kids?
You shut up. Okay. Sanders, Carger, start with 2 of them. Take them outside. That fella. You. And him.
No. Oh, no, not Dave.
Oh,
not you, Dave. No, not Dave. No.
Brill, you're crazy. You do this and they won't even hang you. You'll be torn to pieces.
You won't be around to see it. All right, go on, get him outside. Well, anybody got anything to say? Anybody gonna say who killed my brother?
I'll tell you something, you yellow, gutless coyote!
Yellow. Anybody else? Okay. He don't count. We still need 2. You. Get away with him. Go on. They both of them outside.
They took the 2 men out, and we stood there. Some of us looking at the body of Maxim, with his wife sobbing over him. Others staring at the closed door. It had happened so quickly there wasn't time to think, to figure anything. And there wasn't any way to shut out the sound of what happened outside.
Oh,
no! I gotta do something. No, Bill, don't.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, a skid can be tragic if the road is wet or icy. A faulty windshield wiper that's a nuisance in a shower can be your nemesis in a snowstorm. The sum and substance of our message being, take extra care when you're driving under winter conditions. Make sure your car is prepared for winter, and then drive it with twice your usual caution. Now, for the second act of Gunsmoke.
Except for Maxon's wife and another woman whose husband had died, there was a quiet now in the warehouse. The killers didn't come back in again. Maybe for what they'd done, they didn't have the nerve right then. Takes nerve to look at the faces of the ones who are left. I found out that there'd been 12 of them who'd ridden in. Now with the one who was gone, there were 11. I talked to the boys who had done the shooting at the gang. 2 of them were willing to give up, but 2 others weren't, and I didn't blame them. We waited, Chester, Bill Holton, and me in a corner trying to make a plan. An hour went by. An early evening chill found its way into the warehouse.
I think they'll do it again. 2 more of us.
Not for a while, maybe. That kind will get liquored up first. It makes them brave.
I still think that maybe now's a chance to get outside, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, it might be.
What scares me, though, is they'll start with the women and kids.
Yeah.
There's always a chance somebody will ride in, maybe see what's happening and send for help.
Like us, huh? Mm-mm. Besides, it'll take too long.
Mr. Dillon, let me try it. I don't want to hear no more of these women doing that.
Just let me think, Chester.
They're coming back.
What? All right. Come on, quick.
There's 2 of them. You can see through the crack.
Yeah. It's the ones that got our guns. Brill isn't with them. Chester, get on the other side of the door.
Yes, sir.
You, mister, and Bill, behind me.
Right.
Now, when they come in, grab them in time. Now, look. I want everybody to keep real quiet. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, now wait until they're inside.
You think the others might be around the back?
I don't know. We'll take the chance. Now, whoever gets hold of them, don't let them yell.
Hey, let me have a drink, will you?
Here.
What do you think?
What?
In there.
How should I know?
Well, we shouldn't hang around too long. I figure we ought to start riding.
Well, you know Brill. It was the kid. He thought a lot of them.
Yeah. Hey, there's one woman in there, though. Did you see her?
Tall one?
No, with the old man. The pretty one. The little.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But maybe we get her out here and the others will talk.
Might be.
I ain't saying it will make them talk, but a lot of men in there are soft about women.
What about Brill?
Nah, he don't care. He wants to find out who killed the kid. Maybe we can get him to talk.
Sure. Might be fun.
Hey, miss. No, you. Over there. Come on. We won't hurt you. We want to talk to you outside. Come on. He said, come here.
She don't want it.
Cover me, will you? I'll go get her.
All right, now. All right, get the door closed.
Mine only had but 1 gun, Mr. Dillon.
Well, this one's got 2. All right, which one of you here can handle a gun right?
Frank's the best here.
Donnelly?
Yes, sir?
Here. We'll split up the cartridges. Chester, get over by the crack there and keep a lookout.
Yes, sir.
One of the kids found an axe behind those empty crates, man.
Good. See if you can find anything else.
Yeah, mate.
Well, there's 3 of us now. 9 of them with guns.
Yeah, except that we know that and they don't. Donnelly, you're going to have to stay here. Chester and I'll try to get some more guns. Now, you got a good chance to knock out a couple more of them if they come in. Shoot to kill them, you understand?
I understand.
Wait a minute, Matt. I'm coming with you.
No.
Listen, I used to throw an axe pretty good. I get close enough to one of them boys, I can split him. I'm coming with you. It's our only chance. You start shooting and the whole bunch will be on your neck. This is quieter.
Okay, let's go. You see anybody, Chester?
No, sir. He must be up the slough.
All right, then open the door. Now, if we hear any shots back here, Donnelly, we'll come running. Take it easy now. We got outside and made a run over to some dugouts. Up the street, we could hear the killers still drinking their courage back. If it had just been the three of us against them, we might have taken a chance, but with the women and kids in the warehouse, we couldn't do that. We'd have to pick them off if we could, one by one. And the first shot we fired, there was going to be trouble. Out to the left of the warehouse in the evening shade, I saw the bodies of the two men they'd shot down. A dog was moving around, whimpering. A couple of minutes went by, and then we started around the back and made our way up behind the saloon.
If we get in by the back door, Mr. Dillon, you think we could surprise them?
We can't take the chance, Chester. Not with only two guns. They get us, and you know what'll happen.
Yes, sir.
One of them's coming out. Look.
Yeah?
It's the fella shot Dave Maxon.
He's heading this way. You think he's... Oh.
Bill?
Yeah?
Think you can get him from here?
A little closer, maybe. Not from here.
He's got two guns on him. We need them. Stay in line with the post. We'll cover you.
Okay.
I saw Holton's big fist tighten around the axe handle. He moved out and down the alley in line with the post. The killer never looked up. He just stood there, head down, swaying a bit. Then Holton stopped. His arm raised up and back. And the axe caught a gleam of light and must have thrown it into the killer's eye. He had just time to look up and see the thing before it caught him square.
I haven't done that for a long time. I only throw at trees and boards. I never did it to a man before. I never killed a man like that.
Chester, get the other gun.
Yes.
All right, here. Here, Bill, take this. All right, we got 4 now. That ought to fix us. Now, look, I don't like what we're going to do, but it's the safest way. We go in there shooting, get them fast. In the leg, anywhere. Try not to kill, but don't give them a chance to shoot back.
Yes, sir. Sure, man.
You okay, Bill? You want to wait a minute?
I'm okay.
I'm telling you, I ain't leaving until a man killed my brother gets it the same way. No, sir, I won't hear that. How long was that? Drink up, we'll go on back now and see if they change their mind.
It's all right with me.
Thinking Marshal Dillon out this time. Yeah. And that deputy. Yeah. Too many marshals around this country anyway.
Sure.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. Keep your hands where they are, Brill. All right, Chester, take their guns.
Yes, sir.
I'm arresting you for murder, Brill. The rest of them with you.
Killed my brother. Got him in the back. My brother, they murdered him.
You know something? If I wasn't a marshal, I'd do the same thing to you right now. It's too bad I can't. I hope it hurts when they hang you, Brill. And it was over. And I got the feeling like it had never happened, that there hadn't been time for it to happen. But the dead men's women knew that it wasn't a dream. The next day, a half a dozen of the fellows, Chester and myself, took the outlaws back to Dodge. Most of them had been hit back in the saloon. One died in Cimarron before we could get him to the dock. But not Brill. He was alive when he went to Hayes City with the rest of the boys. I was there when they tried him. And I was there when they hanged him.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Anthony Ellis, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Vic Perrin, Bob Sweeney, John Daner, Lou Krugman, Michael Ann Barrett, and Ted Bliss. Parley Bear is Chester. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Bartender, set out another bottle of that rye whiskey. Now, look, Mr. Thatcher, you just tell us once more about this stud colt you got, huh?
He's a good colt, Mr. Butler.
Uh-huh, and a running colt, you tell me.
He can run some.
Some? About the fastest thing in these parts, I hear tell.
You're making fun of me, Mr. Butler. You and your friends.
Oh, I don't know why you should think that. Out here in Dodge, we're all interested in good horse flesh. Especially when it's some sort of a fancy new breed. Quarter horse, you call it, huh?
If you don't mind, I'll be going now.
Oh, no. Not yet, Mr. Thatcher. We'd all like to hear some more about your stock, wouldn't we, boys?
Mr. Butler, my grandson's waiting for me outside.
Hey, Thatcher, tell us again about this little old sawed-off colt of yours. I understand these new type horses you raise have rumps so high they look like they're going downhill.
Hank, it ain't polite to call his colt that way. Besides, it ain't that he's sawed off. It's just that he's got no back. His withers run right into his croup.
He's quarter horse and three-quarters what else?
I guess this is all fun for you, but you got no call.
Oh, now, boys, I do believe Thatcher's upset. Here, let me pour you another drink.
No, thanks. I'll be going.
No, that just ain't sociable. Here, have a drink.
I said no, Mr. Butler.
Drink it.
I'm old enough to be your father, Mr. Butler, and I'll drink when I want and with who I want.
You ornery old goat, I'll pour this whole stinking bottle down your throat.
All right, Butler. That's enough.
Evening, Marshal Dillon.
Mr. Thatcher, your grandson's waiting outside in the buckboard. You better get along home, huh?
Yeah. Thank you, Marshal. Thank you very much.
Old fool. Bragging on the quarter colt he's so proud of. Well, buy a drink, Marshal.
No, thank you.
You just missed the fun. We were having old Thatcher on about his stock.
He's not young anymore, Mr. Butler. But let me warn you about something. Sometime you may push him too far.
Oh, we were just hurrahing him a bit. We didn't do any harm.
Thatcher and his grandson are new out here. You find your fun somewhere else, Butler. Why don't you leave him be?
Matt?
You know, when you torment an old man like that, it makes you cheap. Real cheap.
Matt? Sit down, Matt. You could buy me a drink if you wanted.
Yeah, sure. Sam, send over a drink for Miss Kitty, will you?
I have to drink alone. Usually my partner drinks with me.
Not tonight, Kitty.
You mad about something, Matt?
No. Tired, maybe.
I saw you talking with Ed Butler over there. He say something to set you off?
Yeah, maybe that's it, Kitty. I don't know. Oh, thanks, Sam. There you are.
That was old man Thatcher over there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Whenever he comes in here, Butler gets him started on this new breed of horse Thatcher's got. Is that what it was tonight?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Happens every time he comes to town, Matt.
He's an old man, Kitty. There's no way he can fight back.
Well, Matt, it's not your worry. You can't keep Butler off his back any more than I can.
They're like vultures circling a buffalo that's hurt, just waiting for the time when he finally goes down so they can settle for a meal.
Matt.
I'm thirsty after all. I think I will have that drink, Kitty. Sam! Chester, if you'd run these papers over to Mr. Hightower.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon. Another wanted poster on Johnny Ringo.
Mr. Hightower's waiting for him, Chester.
Yes, sir, but Johnny Ringo's out in Arizona. He never comes back this way.
Chester?
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon. I'll take him right over. Oh, is there anything for me to do while I'm down at the other end of the plaza?
No, nothing I know of.
Well, then I'll just wait around down at the depot then, Mr. Dillon, if it's all right. The morning train's due in from St. Louis in half hour.
All right, Chester.
Marshal Dillon,
Oh, good morning, Mr. Thatcher.
got a minute to spare? I have a favor to ask.
Yeah, certainly. Come on in. Mr. Hightower's waiting, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Well, sit down, Mr. Thatcher.
First of all, Marshal, I want to thank you for what you did last night over at the Texas Trail.
Oh, Butler and his crowd just had too much to drink, that's all.
Well, maybe I did, too. Once I start, it's hard to stop. Then I get to argue. I'm too old to argue that way.
Well, maybe you shouldn't go to the Texas Trail. Seems every time you do, Butler takes his pleasure riding you.
Well, it's that I wanted to talk to you about.
No? Well, go on.
Well, Ed Butler's always said he's got the best horses around Dodge or anywhere else.
Maybe he does, Mr. Thatcher.
Mine are better.
Well, I don't know anything about your stock.
Marshal Dillon, Ed Butler's having breakfast right down the street at the Dodge House. I want you to walk down there with me.
Now, look, Mr. Thatcher, I don't want to mix up in any personal problems between you and Ed.
Well, this ain't completely personal, Marshal. Oh, save maybe in a way. I come to you because I figure you're the one man in Dodge with nothing to gain. And you'll be honest. I got something here. I want you to take it.
No?
It's the deed to my ranch.
Why are you giving it to me?
I want you to hold that deed and come with me to meet Ed Butler. I'm going to challenge him to a grudge race. My quarter coat against the best horse he's got.
You mean you're putting up your ranch on this race?
Yes, sir. And I want you to hold the stakes.
Look, it's no business of mine, but you could lose, you know.
No, sir. I don't figure I can.
Mr. Thatcher, you and your grandson have been over here from Missouri better than a year now. Now, you know how these people are, men such as Butler and the rest. There's nothing more fun than ragging somebody. Somebody who fights back but isn't too strong.
You're trying to lecture me, Marshal.
Well, it's because you're new here that they're making it rough for you. You just don't know the ways yet.
No, it's no good, Marshal.
Look, Mr. Thatcher, you're putting up everything you got on this race. Now, what makes you so sure you can win? What's so special about this stud colt that you've raised?
He's a
little special in most every way, Marshal. His daddy was cold deck, and his mother was the best mare in Missouri. Oh, I know why Butler and the others laugh at him. Compared to some horses, he looks like a bulldog beside a greyhound. His head's short, and he carries it too low. He's built too close to the ground, with bulging muscles and short legs. But I'll tell you one thing. He's just gone 4, and as he stands now, he's the most horse west of St. Louis. And there are some like him in Texas now. And if I have any say, one day quarter horses will be all over the West. When a man gets to be my age, Marshal Dillon, he's got to stand behind what he believes. And I believe in this little horse. He's sleepy and he's quiet, but he can unwind like lightning.
Yeah, you got a feel for horses, haven't you, Mr. Thatcher?
It ain't much of a man talks one way and thinks another. Will you walk with me down to the Dodge house?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll walk with you.
I'm going to have some more.
Well, Butler, that's it. And Mr. Thatcher here has asked that I hold the purse.
Couldn't ask for anything more fair than that.
Then you race?
Why, sure I'll race. You name the day and the time, I'll be there.
This afternoon, then, across the river.
Good enough for me.
All right, we'll make it at 2 o'clock. I'll have Doc Adams there to look over the horses. They'll both be sound or there'll be no race. Is that agreed?
That's good.
And they'll run the way they are, shod or not shod. And Mr. Thatcher has suggested a distance of 400 yards.
That's right.
400 yards? Hardly worth running, but I'm willing.
All right, since you accept the match, Mr. Butler, you'd best to come to some agreement on the bet with Mr. Thatcher here.
What do you figure your ranch with everything on it's worth, Thatcher?
Oh, maybe $4,000?
That's high for just 500-600 acres, a few outbuildings, and a couple of old milk cows. I'll put 4,000 against your deed. Marshal, I'll give it to Hank here. He'll bring it over to your office.
All right, if you'll have it there by noon.
Hey, how about a side bet for me, Mr. Thatcher?
Well, I don't know.
Hank,
Yeah, Jim, what?
I seen a quarter mare named Belle run down Galveston last July. And I seen Thatcher's colt run little. I'll take your side bet. Name it.
400.
Double that, it's a bet.
Good enough.
Then it's 800, and I'll bet the quarter colt.
Well, now, Mr. Thatcher. Seems Jim Bales here don't have no more sense than you. Well, at least you're not alone.
All right, then. Everything's settled. Just one last thing, gentlemen. This is going to be a fair race.
Well, no need to worry, Marshal. Ain't no reason to press my luck. Not against a jug-headed cayuse like Thatcher.
Why, you know...
All right, that's enough. Now, come on, Mr. Thatcher. Let's get out of here, huh? Now, why don't you go on home? I'm going back to the office.
You think I'm just an old fool, don't you?
Yes, Mr. Thatcher, I do. You're headstrong and you're stubborn. But, good luck to you this afternoon.
You know, Matt, there have been horse races in Dodge before, lots of times. But I've never seen one where so many people got concerned. Why, the whole town's in on it. Everybody's betting one way or another.
Yeah, I know. And I don't like it, Doc.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, is there?
Now, people like an excuse to celebrate. And this afternoon there'll be whiskey running to help them. Whiskey and horses don't mix when there's money changing hands.
Matt, are you worried about Thatcher putting his ranch up on the race?
He could lose his ranch, Doc.
Oh. Well, doesn't he have a chance?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
Oh, hello, Doc.
Well, Chester, huh?
Say, I was down at the bridge a few minutes back watching for Butler to take his horse across. I wanted to know which one he was running.
Well?
And I didn't recognize the horse. I thought probably it'd be his sorrel, but it wasn't. It was a horse I ain't never seen before.
Well, what horse is it, Chester?
Ed Butler ain't putting in no cow pony, Mr. Dillon. He's running a thoroughbred.
Well, he's got no chance at all now. Is that it, man?
Mr. Thatcher's betting everything he has on this quarter horse of his to beat a cow pony. Now Butler's running a pure racing horse, a thoroughbred. Well, it's past 1. Let's get over to the other side of the river.
We'll return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, Tuesday nights you have 2 dates for thrilling mystery on CBS Radio. One's with Pam and Jerry North. The other's with yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Remember, next Tuesday and every Tuesday on most of these same stations, enjoy John Lund as yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and Mr. and Mrs. North, both presented by CBS Radio. Now the second act of Gunsmoke.
My, looks like half a Dodge is over here, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, maybe more than that. Chester, see if you can find Ed Butler and old man Thatcher and bring him over here, huh?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Kitty.
I haven't seen this many people in one spot since last year when Eddie Foy played the Opera House. It's kind of a fiesta, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way.
Nobody'd think it to look at you. Where's the finish line going to be, Matt? I want to see good.
Back up there about 50 yards.
Oh, well, I'll go up and find me a place.
Yeah, okay.
Matt! Oh, Matt!
Yeah, Doc.
Oh, here you are. Well, I've looked over both horses. They seem sound enough.
Good.
I don't get much call to check horses anymore. Mostly it's babies these days. Or maybe a gunshot wound.
Doc, who's going to ride for Butler and Thatcher, you know?
Butler's got Hank Thomas, and I think Thatcher's grandson's going to ride for him.
Well, I hope the boy knows what he's doing.
I think he does, Matt. He's got spurs and a switch.
Well, that'll help.
See, Matt, Thatcher's getting all liquored up.
Well, that's his affair, isn't it, Doc?
Yeah, but he's got a skin full. You know how edgy he gets when he's that way?
I sent Chester for him. He should be along any
The
minute.
whole crowd seems kind of excited and nervy. Maybe I'll pick up some business out there, huh?
That's not funny, Doc.
I'm sorry, Matt.
Mr. Dillon, I found Mr. Butler, but I
Afternoon,
couldn't...
Marshal.
Where's Thatcher?
Oh, I wouldn't know. Last time I saw him, he was pouring down some red-eye. Preparing for the loss, maybe.
Well, Mr. Hightower and Doc here are going to act as judges along with me. Chester will fire the starting gun.
It's all terrible fancy for just a whim of that old fool Thatcher's, ain't it?
You may call me an old fool now, Butler, but it'll be different after the race.
You're drunk, Thatcher.
Any law say a man can't win a horse race if he's drunk?
Oh, what's the matter? Need courage to bring your horse out here to the flat?
All right, stay out of it, Butler. Mr. Thatcher's your grandson all set?
Yes, sir, Marshal.
How about you, Butler?
We're ready.
All right, then tell your riders to take their horses down to those 2 buckboards down there. That'll be the starting line.
You thought you'd fool me, didn't you, Butler? Bringing out that thoroughbred to run. Well, I don't care. I can still beat you.
You're talking an awful lot for a man who ain't worried.
Don't ride me, Butler. I've had enough.
Oh,
of
listen
you.
to me, Thatcher. I put up with your chatter long enough.
Why you...
All right, that's enough. I'll
You
have
just
both of
see
you.
to it you win, Thatcher. I'll have your ranch and that colt you think so much of.
Oh, what did you say?
You heard me. Just make sure you win, if you can.
Oh, what did you say about my colt? What did you mean?
Well, if my bay mare wins, I get your ranch and everything on it. That includes your colt.
No, that isn't right.
Well, what about it, Marshal? You're holding the purse and drawing up all the rules, it seems. What about it?
Butler's right, Mr. Thatcher. That's the way you made the bet.
You're no good, Butler. No good at all.
I didn't make the bet.
All right, both of you move your horses down to the starting line. It's 2 o'clock.
Hank, move that bay down those marks.
Well, go on down, Mr. Thatcher.
Yes, sir, yes.
Chester, you walk with him. Give him 5 minutes, and then you can start him off.
5 minutes. Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Well, I was right. Wasn't I, Matt? Thatcher's been drinking some.
Yeah. Come on, Doc. We'll look up Mr. Hightower.
All right. You know, Matt, This is like a holiday. It's like a fiesta.
Yeah, that's what Kitty said.
Ooh, she's out here, too, huh? Yeah, well, I guess maybe outside of Mr. Thatcher, the only person not enjoying himself is you.
Do I have to enjoy it, Doc?
I'm sorry, Matt. What's up?
Come on, Doc, run.
Wait a minute. Wait,
Mr. Dillon, it's Mr. Thatcher. He's been shot.
Shot? Where is he, Chester?
Right over there, laying on the ground. His boy's with him.
All right. Let me through. Let me through. I'm the doctor. Let me through here. Oh, here now, just a minute.
No. It's not much use looking, Doc. I know where it is.
He's bad, Matt.
What happened, Mr. Thatcher?
And now I won't see him run.
Mr. Thatcher, listen to me.
Now I'll never know for sure if my colt could...
What happened, Chester? You were with him?
Mr. Dillon, I don't know. I was walking along, not thinking anything particular. Thatcher and Butler was up ahead, and then Thatcher drew on Butler, tried to shoot him.
I shot him, if that's what you want to know, Marshal.
It was self-defense, Marshal.
That's what it was, Mr. Dillon. But still,
He was drunk.
man,
You saw that for yourself. And he tried to kill me.
That's right, Marshal. What Ed says is right.
That's the way it happened, Mr. Dillon.
Suppose now that forfeits the race, don't it, Marshal?
Doc, will you take care of... get him into a wagon and back into town. I'll see you back there.
Oh, sure, Matt. Now, you men, will you give me a hand here? Now, just stand
But
back.
what about that forfeit, Marshal?
You just can't wait till a man's cold before you want his property, can you?
Oh, it ain't that, Dillon.
The race ain't forfeit. I'll run it.
That's a Thatcher boy, Mr. Dillon.
Come here, son. What's your name?
I'm Lonnie Thatcher. I'm gonna ride Granddaddy's colt.
Well, now, look, maybe...
I'm Ken. Granddaddy was queer, kind of, but what he said about this colt is right. And I'm riding him in the race.
Yeah, but with what's happened, Lonnie, maybe we should put the race off. We'll run it, sure, but not today, not now.
I'll agree to put it off.
Granddaddy'd like it best this way. We'll race.
Gracious. There ain't a tear in his eye, Mr. Dillon.
All right, if that's the way you want it.
It's what I want.
All right, then get on down to the starting line, both of you. Go on, Chester.
Yes, sir.
I was looking for you, Marshal. Are we going to have the race?
Yeah,
That's a good thing, you know. There'd be a lot of people disappointed if it didn't come off.
and we wouldn't want that, would we, Mr. Hightower?
How's that?
The killing's hardly enough to make the day complete, is it?
No, Marshal, I didn't mean anything wrong. It's just...
Yeah, sure. Just forget it. Move on up to the finish line. I'll get a couple of these riders to clear the lane.
All right, Mr. Dillon.
You there, would you ride down toward the start and make everybody move back and clear a lane, huh? All right, everybody, will you get back, please? Oh, would you clear the lane, please?
Please move back. All you people there. Move back. That's it. Well, it's time, Marshal.
Yeah.
What's Chester waiting for?
It looks like the colt's acting up.
I've never seen two different breed of horses run against each other.
And that colt's kicking up a storm.
Could make a good column for the paper, maybe.
Come on, get a hold of him, kid.
Don't you think it'd make a good column, Marshal?
There they go, Matt. Look at that boy ride, Matt.
Come on, kid.
Come on, kid. Did you see that, Matt? Oh, that boy, did he ever?
I guess there was no question about it, Matt.
Yeah, it was the colt by half a length.
A quarter horse beat a thoroughbred. Now, that is something to see. And it's a new kind of horse in these parts.
Well, Marshal, you should be happy.
Because the boy won? And for that, I am happy, yeah.
Well, Well, I got no complaint, Marshal. It was fair and square.
If you gentlemen will excuse me, I want to get back to the office.
Sure, Mr. Hightower. Marshal.
Yeah?
Look, Marshal, about what happened this afternoon. About Thatcher. I didn't really hold anything against the old man. I'm sorry it happened.
I told you sometime you'd push him too far. Now he's dead.
Well, after all, Marshal, he drew first.
No, I'm not saying you're a murderer, Butler. But you're small inside. The only feeling I got for you is contempt. You're responsible for the death of that man today, and yet there's nothing I can do about it.
You're blaming me for everything?
It's not you. I guess it's just people. Good day, Mr. Butler.
Matt, I was looking for you.
Where's Lonnie Thatcher, Kitty?
Standing over there by his horse, crying. Maybe you ought to talk to him, Matt.
I'm going to.
Well, he doesn't want to see anybody. Some of us tried talking to him, and he just walked away.
I'll see you later. Hey, boy, you better walk that horse. Any horseman who knows he shouldn't be standing around after running like that.
Yes, sir.
All right. I got $4,000 for you, Lonnie. You want to take it, or shall I give it to Banker Hodgson?
I'll take it.
It might be better to leave it in the bank.
I said I'll take it.
All right, son. Here.
Thank you, Marshal Dillon.
Lonnie, you got any plans?
Yes, sir.
What?
I'm going to do what my granddaddy always wanted to do. I'm going to raise horses like this stud colt. I'm going to breed them.
Where are you going to do this? At your granddaddy's place?
Yes, sir.
That's a big spread for a boy to handle alone.
I'll manage.
How old are you, Lonnie?
I got $4,000 to help me. And I'm old enough to know my mind.
Yeah, I guess you are.
And you know something else, Marshal? I understand these quarter horses, just like my granddaddy did. When men in these parts get sense enough to be interested in new stock and want good mounts with a fine way of going, they can come and buy them from me, Lonnie Thatcher.
Yeah. And if I'm any judge, that may not take too long, Lonnie.
Thanks, Marshal Dillon.
The boy's eyes were glistening as he turned and walked away, leading his stud colt home. Most of the crowd had left. They'd gone back into Dodge to rerun the race over a drink or two and talk about this new kind of horse, this stocky, heavy-muscled, quick-as-lightning quarter horse that had come to Dodge. And now it was getting darker because of some clouds building up over in the northwest. And when I looked again, the boy and his horse had almost vanished from sight.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The special music is composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin and Joe Carnes, with Johnny McGovern, Harry Bartell, and Luke Krugman. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Tomorrow night, that great thespian Jack Benny attempts to show Tyrone Power how it should have been done
playing the power role in his own version of the movie Mississippi Gambler. Also tomorrow night, don't miss the latest laughs with Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks of Merry Madcap Madison High. George Walsh speaking, and remember, Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy open fire on your funny bone Sunday nights on the CBS Radio Network.
Post Toasties, the heap good cornflakes, is proud to present Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, the story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. Say there, next time you hear a crackling noise in your kitchen, you better get up and investigate. Maybe somebody just couldn't wait for his breakfast of crackling crisp Post Toasties. And that's a treat you shouldn't miss. Post Toasties, you know, are the heap good cornflakes. Why, after one taste, I'll bet anything you'll agree with me. Post Toasties is just the best thing that's happened to corn since the Indians discovered it. There's nothing quite like sweet kernel corn flavor when it's toasted right in. Toasted into crisp, fresh cornflakes. Man, oh man, that's Post Toasties. Heap good cornflakes. Better try 'em. And now, Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad.
This ain't much of a room, Quarter.
Take a look out the window. It ain't much of a town.
Would need a whole lot more dust down there. You couldn't see Dodge at all.
That'd be an improvement. But things will work out. They always have, haven't they?
You got a short memory, Quarter. Didn't work out so good up in Deadwood.
Well, at least we didn't get shot. Now, things will go better here.
I hope so. What kind of lawman they got here, I wonder?
Well, we'll soon find out. Ought to be along any minute now. I sent word we'd like to have a talk right away at the hotel here.
By the way, Quarter, who's going to do the talking this time?
I'll do it.
It must be him.
You let me handle this now, Duggan.
Okay.
Come in.
My name's Matt Dillon.
Well, I'm Ben Corder, Marshal. This is my partner, Harry Duggan.
Hello.
Good night, Marshal.
You asked me to come here. You said it was urgent.
Oh, it is, Marshal, it is. You see, Duggan and me, we're business partners. And whenever we come to a new town, like Dodge here, we like to get to know whoever's running the place. That way we figure there won't be any misunderstanding later on.
Well, what is your business, gentlemen?
We're gamblers.
Oh? What do you want of me? Dodge is an open town.
We make money gambling, Marshal. Sometimes a lot of money. We just want you to know in advance that you'll get your share of it.
I'm a lawman, Corder, and as long as I am, there won't be any crooked games in Dodge.
Oh, no, Marshal, you know how sometimes a player will lose a little money and start a fuss over it, and then maybe even go to the law about it.
And when he does, he's usually been cheated. Before he gets to the law, there's another killing. Now, you can run your game, Corder, but you keep it straight or out you go. Both of you.
That's not friendly, Marshal.
You've made one mistake, trying to bribe me. You make another and you're through in Dodge.
One of those hard-nosed marshals, huh?
You'll find out soon enough, mister. Good day, gentlemen.
You handled him great, Corder. Just great.
No, don't be a fool. He's no better than anybody else. And I got an idea we can persuade him yet.
Chester,
Yes, sir?
how's the prisoner?
Oh, he's all right, Mr. Dillon. Just sleeping off his drunk.
Well, it's late. I think I'll get out of here and go to bed. Don't forget to put the lamp out before you leave the office, Chester.
No, sir, I won't.
Get up!
You see anybody? You want a rifle?
No. Stay where you are. All right, you can crawl over now and put that lamp out, huh? But stay low.
Yes, sir.
Well, he's through.
Ain't we going after him, Mr. Dillon?
Now, he had a rifle, Chester, and he was in the alley just across the street. That's mighty poor shooting if he wanted to hit me.
What do you mean?
I think he was trying to scare me. To show me how they treat the law where he comes from.
Oh, them two gamblers, huh?
Yeah, maybe. But I can't be sure. Well, I'm going to take a rifle and go out the back way. I'll see you tomorrow, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Matt.
Good evening, Kitty.
Sit down.
Thanks. It's crowded in here tonight.
I'll get you a drink.
No, not now, huh?
Chester was in earlier. He told me about your getting shot at last night.
Well, I didn't get hit anyway.
But you might have, especially a man with a rifle.
Well, Kitty, I'll admit I don't like the idea of being ambushed. I prefer to do my fighting in the open.
Oh, Matt. Why do you have to fight at all? Why can't you live like other men?
Well, somebody has to enforce the law, Kitty.
Sure. Forget it, Matt. Any idea who was after you last night?
Well, it might have been one of those two men watching us from the bar over there. Maybe both of them.
Oh? They look like gamblers to me.
Yeah, they are. The one who's headed this way calls himself Ben Corder.
If there's going to be trouble.
No, there won't be. Just sit still.
Evening, Marshal.
Hello.
Ah, right pretty girl.
Say what you have to say, Corder.
Sure do make it hard to be friends, Marshal. I just wanted to say that I heard you got shot at last night.
So?
Well, I'm sorry it happened, that's all. I sure don't envy a man who has to be a marshal. It's mighty dangerous. And besides, it usually don't pay very good.
Well, what do you think I ought to do about it, Corder? Quit?
Oh, that isn't necessary, Marshal. Why, if you were smart, you could stay right here and make more money and take less chances, too.
I didn't know for sure it was you, Corder. But I know it now.
What do you mean?
There's a stage out of Dodge in half an hour. You and Duggan are going to be on it.
Oh, no, we're opening our new game across the street tonight.
I'll take your gun, Corder.
Now, wait a minute, Marshal. You can't do that.
Yes, I can do
Oh,
it.
no, you won't.
All right, Duggan. I want your gun next.
Sure, Marshal. Sure.
Turn around and put your hands on the bar. All right, now go pick up your partner. You're riding the stage north tonight. Now get going, Duggan, and don't ever come back, either one of you. They got on the stage all right. I was there to see them do it. And just before it pulled out, I unloaded their guns and tossed them into the floor inside. And then they left, and I forgot about them. I figured these two, like so many others I'd run out of Dodge, would keep going and make their trouble somewhere else. But a couple of weeks later, I found out I'd figured wrong. I was walking up Front Street one evening with Doc.
That Humboldt woman was in to see me again today, Matt.
Well, you're usually complaining about a shortage of patients, Doc.
I know, but this woman's not a patient. She's a suicide.
Oh, Doc, that might be said of anybody who comes to you.
Eh? Oh, no, I'm going to remember that, ain't I?
Mr. Dillon? Yeah. Oh, hello, Doc.
Oh, hello, Chester.
Say, they're right inside the Alfraganza there, Mr. Dillon. I just saw them.
No? Who'd you see, Chester?
Them gamblers, Carter and Duggan, and they got somebody else with them, some stranger.
Oh, no. I'll see you later, Doc.
Sure, Matt. Yeah.
There they are, right down at the end of the bar there. All three of them.
Well, I'll be.
Here he is. Here he is, Toke. This is him.
Wow.
We're back, Marshal. And we brought a man with us to sort of look after our interests. You won't buffalo him so easy.
Hello, Toke.
You really Marshal here?
Yeah? Why didn't they tell you?
I didn't mention no name.
What are you two talking about? What is this?
Toke Marlin and I are old friends, Carter. We worked and rode a long time together. We went through quite a lot, didn't we, Toke?
Too much. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. You've, sold your gun to these two. Is that right?
That's right.
So you're here to kill me?
Yeah. I'm here to kill you.
Say, how are morning appetites at your house? If they're pretty drowsy, here's a real good way to wake 'em up. Set a bowl full of Post Toasties, the heat good cornflakes, at everybody's place. Just watch your folk take notice when they see how crisp Post Toasties are. And wait till they taste that sweet kernel corn flavor toasted in. Bet your whole tribe will agree with you. Post Toasties are the best thing that's happened to corn since the Indians discovered it. And here's a thought if you'd like to make a good thing even better. Try topping Post Toasties with your favorite fruit. You'll find that's a mighty good way to start the day. Fact is, it's a downright delicious way. So next time you shop, be sure to ask for Post Toasties. They're the heat good cornflakes. You'll see.
Post Toasties heat good cornflakes. The best thing that's happened to corn since the Indians discovered it. Heat good cornflakes. Post Toasties heat good cornflakes.
Now back to Gunsmoke.
It was a bad feeling to meet Toke Moreland again after some 15 years, and to have him standing at the bar of the Alfraganza, hired by a couple of crooked gamblers to kill me. Toke and I had run horses together over in New Mexico, until the night we rode into Silver City and got taken by a drunken mob and beaten half to death. It didn't matter who they were after or why. The next day, when they found out that we weren't the men they wanted, it was too late. Something had gone wrong inside Toke. And as soon as he was able, he rode off without a word. I never saw him again. Until now.
How long you been a marshal?
Long time, Toke.
I never figured lawmen for much.
I want to talk to you, Toke. Come on over to the table.
Oh, no, you don't, Marshal.
Shut up,
No, you...
Quarter. Come on, Toke. Sit down. Is this your profession now? Shooting people?
Oh, I gamble a little.
Why do you do it, Toke?
I don't like people much. Not after what happened in Silver City.
You recovered from that beating? We both did. We were young. That was a long time ago.
Maybe my memory is better than yours.
No, that isn't it. We both changed after that, Toke.
We sure did.
But we changed in different ways. You hate everybody. I just hate mobs. I guess that's one reason I became a lawman.
There was a lawman helping them that night in Silver City. He was the sheriff.
There are good sheriffs and bad.
Like marshals.
I suppose.
It's kind of too bad you're a marshal, Matt.
You're going to go through with this anyway, is that it?
I'll never back off from a fight.
What if I won't fight you?
You don't have to. I get paid anyway. But you'll have to leave Dodge.
You think I'll do that?
No. But I'll give you 24 hours to think it over anyway.
All right. That gives you 24 hours, too.
I don't change. Talk's nothing to me.
Money is, huh?
It adds to the pleasure.
You'd, enjoy shooting me?
You ain't Matt Dillon. You're a U.S. Marshal.
No, Toke, you're stupid. You don't think.
Maybe, but I'm a pretty good gunman.
Yeah, sure.
Matt, you can let Corder and Duggan run their game here, or you can quit.
It's a crooked game. There'd be fights. Men would die. No, I got a job, too, Toke.
24 hours, Marshal.
Okay. 24 hours.
Hello, Matt. Chester?
Hello, Doc.
Doc?
You're looking mighty glum today, Matt.
Am I?
You should be.
Why?
Well, I've been over to the Dodge House. Mr. Reisling's down with the gout again. And there's a lot of talk, Matt. I know you must have your reasons, but people are sure wondering what those two gamblers are doing back in town again.
Well, that'll all be settled tonight, Doc.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Don't go to bed early, huh? We might need you.
Yeah? A fight, man? Why, you didn't have any trouble with them before. Why, you... Oh, that other fella they brought with him.
Yeah, that one.
Ain't there no way at all to stop him, Mr. Dillon?
I've been trying to think, Chester.
If there's anything in this world I hate, it's a paid gunman. I got no use for a man that can be bought for money.
Money's important to Toke, but I don't see how... You know where Toke is now?
Well, he was in the Texas Trail a little while ago.
Good. I'll be back later. Hello, Toke.
Well, it's Marshal Dillon. Sit down, Marshal. You know Miss Kitty here.
Hello, Matt.
Kitty?
We've been talking about you and me and Kitty. Been talking about me, too.
Well, then I'm not interrupting because I'd like to talk about you.
Go right ahead, but don't stay too long. She's an awful pretty girl, Matt.
Maybe I better leave.
No, you stay right where you are. Anything the Marshal's got to say, we can all hear. You leave, I'll leave.
It's up to you, Matt.
It's all right, Kitty. Stay. Toke, what are they paying you to get rid of me?
$700.
What if I give you $700?
How'd you shoot them?
You don't care who you kill, do you?
Don't matter much.
No. All right, I'll give you $700 to clear out of here. Forget this whole business.
You have changed, Matt. You sure never were a coward in the old days.
Is that what you think?
Well, so does Kitty, don't you, Kitty?
Don't tell me what I think, mister.
She's full of fire, Matt. She deserves a real man.
Ah.
No, I think I'll get my money from Corder and Duggan. I don't want to leave Dodge. Not till Kitty and me get a little better acquainted anyway.
Now I am leaving.
You're no good, Toke. You're really no good at all anymore.
Wait till 8 o'clock, Marshal. We'll see about it then.
Sure.
I saw it, Mr. Dillon. I was just coming for you. It was Toke Moreland. He just shot a man at the Monte table back there. But the other fellow drawed first.
Okay, Chester. Keep an eye on Corder and Duggan.
Yes, sir.
Toke!
Evening, Marshal. You got here just in time.
Did you kill that man, Toke?
I killed him.
Why?
He objected to the deal, tried to pull a gun. It was self-defense. But that don't matter none.
A crooked deal always leads to killing. That's why I'm running your friends out of Dodge.
You ain't running us out of Dodge, Marshal. Go on, Toke, show him.
I told you once, Corder, I'll run this play. Keep out of it.
Well, sure, Toke, sure. I didn't mean nothing.
Shut up!
by it, but...
I guess you ain't a coward after all, Matt.
Now get out of Dodge. Take them with you.
No. I'm going to try to kill me another lawman first.
Okay, Toke. So long.
So long, Marshal. I'm hurt, Matt. Bad.
Yeah.
You hit me both times.
I had to, Toke.
It's too late to do anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too late.
By heaven, I wish I had last week back again, Matt. Here it is. Huh?
Corder. Duggan. Get out of here. Any way you can, but fast.
Sure.
And if you come back with another gunman, I won't wait to shoot him. Now get away from me.
In just a moment, we'll tell you about next week's adventure on Gunsmoke. Say, Mother, want to see your small fry eat a better breakfast than ever? Well, may I suggest that you dish 'em up some sugar crinkles to start with? Sugar crinkles, you know, make breakfast more fun than a circus. Sugar crinkles is the sugar rice treat that's just right sweet. It's high time to forget the sugar-coated cereals that seem too sweet to you, and those others that don't seem sweet enough to the kids. Just pour out crisp, golden sugar crinkles and see how just right sweet a sugar-coated cereal can be. Just right sweet. Be sure to get several packages of sugar crinkles, because they're great for snacks, too. Kids love 'em that way. Kids love 'em anyway. Try sugar crinkles, and you will, too.
for your breakfast or a snack. You love sugar crinkles, sugar crinkles can't be beat. Sugar ice cream that's just right sweet.
With milk for the breakfast joy.
As a snack from the pack, oh boy! Can't be beat, just right sweet. Sugar crinkles, good
to eat.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Barkeep! Barkeep, get down here.
His name's Sam, mister.
That's so. What's your name?
Neil Butler.
Ain't you pretty young to be drinking so much hard liquor, Neil?
19. But I've been around Dodge longer than you have.
Kind of sassy for a kid, ain't you?
Man enough to ride for Fate Ender.
Fate Ender?
You never heard of him?
Maybe I have.
Anybody that's ever been near a longhorn steer has heard of Fate Ender.
Sure.
He's a hard man to work for, though.
How's that?
Well, he eats one meal a day and don't drink or smoke. So he has a big advantage over the likes of me and you.
Mm-hmm. Does he pay regular?
You looking for a job, mister?
It ain't mister, it's Lee Shin.
Okay, Shin.
And I'm looking for a drink, not a job.
Sam! Hey, Sam!
You had about enough, Neil.
You ain't my nursemaid. I'm buying a drink for me and Lee Shin here.
I've been yelling for one long enough.
Sometimes I'm hard of hearing.
You know, I've seen barkeeps with their heads all busted open.
Shin, huh? And, where would you have seen that, Shin?
Texas, maybe.
Well, you ain't in Texas now.
Lay off of him, Sam. He's new around here. Fetch them drinks.
I just don't believe I will.
Now, looky here.
You don't pull much weight around here, do you, Neil?
He's had enough, Shin, and don't you egg him on.
He can take care of himself.
Of course I can. Sam, you give me a drink or by heaven I'll blow a hole in you.
Now take it easy, kid.
You don't think I will, huh?
Well, you better not try.
I'll try.
All right, you hold it, mister. Watch him, Marshal.
I ain't made a move.
No, but you was about to.
It'd have been too bad for you if I had, Bart.
Never mind that. Throw some water on Neil there, Chester.
Right, Mr. Dillon. You got any water, Sam?
What kind of place you think I run?
Well, give me some beer, then.
You paying for it?
Mr. Dillon?
Forget it, Chester. The kid's coming to anyway. You're a stranger in Dodge, mister.
Supposing I am.
Don't start any trouble, that's all.
I ain't done a thing. I just been standing here. It's that mean-tempered barkeep started it.
You want me to break a bottle over your head, Shin?
See?
Blast you, Sam. What'd you hit me with, anyway?
The usual. If you try that again, I'll hit you twice.
You sure sobered me some.
Sobered you, did he? What were you doing drunk in the first place?
Now, Mr. Render...
Shut up, Neil. I can tell what's been going on here, and I don't like it.
It's all right now, Mr. Render.
You, going to arrest him, Marshal?
No, I got nothing to arrest him for, Fate.
Drunkenness?
He won't cause any more trouble.
You're trying to protect him, huh? Well, it ain't gonna work.
He's sober now. Look at it.
Sure, he's all right, Fate. I just had a little argument with him. Wasn't nothing.
I'm not blaming you, Sam, but a man has to learn to hold his liquor. Or not drink at all.
It's a lot easier not to drink at all. The way you do, Fate.
Maybe. But I remember the time I felt I'd come to the estate of man when I'd learned to drink 1 1/2 quarts of whiskey daily.
That's a lot of whiskey.
But I quit. 15 years ago, I quit.
You ain't had a drop since?
Only once. A friend of mine who was a candidate for office tempted me into a glass. I felt like I'd stolen a sheep.
Well, you can't expect everybody to feel the same way, Fate.
I don't, Marshal. But I recognize the weakness for liquor when I see it. And young Neil here's got to learn.
Mr. Ender, I ain't been drunk in 2 weeks. Till today.
2 weeks? Neil, if you ain't man enough to stay away from it longer than that, you ain't man enough to work for me.
You mean I'm fired?
You'll draw your pay tomorrow morning. Good day, gentlemen.
Mr. Ender. That old mosshead. He needs shooting.
You start thinking about finding a job, Neil, not shooting somebody.
Maybe I'm tired of working. Say, where'd that fella Shin go? He's plumb disappeared.
Never mind about him. Look, Neil, they're looking for some help over at the OK Stables. Maybe it'd keep you in feed till you find something else, huh?
Thanks, Marshal. But I got some thinking to do first.
That Fate Ender sure is a hard man, Mr. Dillon.
Hard enough to cure himself of drinking, anyway.
Yeah, but he needn't have been so mean with Neil the other day. He could have gave him a second chance.
Oh, Neil can get another job.
Yes, I know. But I don't cotton to a man being so self-righteous. My, I'll bet old Ender's made lots of mistakes in his time.
People say he has. Only nobody's caught up with him yet.
What do you mean?
Well, back in Texas, he used to spread a mighty wide loop, Chester. I expect it was a long time before he paid money for any calves.
Oh, well, I never heard he was a thief.
Oh, he isn't. Not now. That was just after the war, when everybody was branding anything in sight. Cattle were running wild then, but with so few men to look after them.
Yes, sir, I know. One of my brothers got caught at it.
Oh? You never told me that, Chester.
Well, it's something us proudfoots don't bring up very often, Mr. Dillon.
No. No, of course not.
No, sir. My brother wouldn't like it.
What?
Well, he's a banker now.
A banker?
Yes, sir. At a place called Pavo. That's over west of San Antone. Real dry country there. He likes it, but I sure don't. My goodness, the wind and the dust is...
Mac!
Hello, Doc.
So you better come upstairs.
Oh, what's the trouble?
Fate Ender. He didn't want to see you, but I sneaked down anyway.
He didn't want to see me about what?
I just took a bullet out of his arm, Matt.
What?
And he's talking about killing the man that put it there.
Who?
He didn't say.
Wait here, Chester.
I didn't hear about no gunfight, Mr. Dillon.
Neither did I. Is he hurt bad, Doc?
I didn't even break the bone, Matt. It'll be a mite painful for a while. He's resting a little right now. That's how I got away.
Well, I'm glad you did.
I might have known that's where you went, Doc.
No man comes in here carrying a bullet without my telling the marshal, Fate.
How'd this happen, Fate?
I'll skin my own snakes, Marshal.
Not around here, you won't.
I've killed men before, and I don't need no help to do it again.
Somebody took a wild shot at you, is that it?
Not so wild it didn't hit me.
Well, maybe he wasn't trying to kill you.
He didn't get close enough for any such trick shooting. Little coward.
Oh. You think it was Neil, huh?
Of course it was. And I'll kill him. I'll kill him sure, Marshal.
Why do you think it was Neil, Fate?
I know it was. Tried to kill me while I was crossing the Arkansas on my way into town. He was a quarter mile off, behind a bluff. Just too bad for him he didn't hit my gun arm.
Now, wait a minute. If he was behind the bluff, how do you know who it was?
You're just complicating things, Marshal. I heard he threatened to kill me the other day when I fired him.
All right, Fate. I'll find him, and if we can prove he did it, he'll go to jail.
He won't go to jail if I find him first, Marshal. You won't stop me. I've lived too long to be killed by some hot-headed kid.
You got a right to protect yourself, Fate. But murder's a hanging offense these days.
And if you don't want to see me hung, you better move fast, Marshal.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, Barbara Stanwyck and Barry Sullivan play their original screen roles again in the Lux Radio Theater adaptation of Jeopardy! It's the story of a wife who encounters a killer during her frantic race to save her husband from death. Remember, Jeopardy! On the Lux Radio Theater Monday night over most of these same stations. On the same evening, hear Victor Mature in The Girl in Car 32 on Suspense. Mature plays a cop who, chasing a jewel thief, finds love along the way. Hear Suspense, also Monday night at the Star's Address. Now the second act of Gunsmoke.
For all his hard-headedness, Fate Ender was as good a citizen as any around Dodge. And in some ways, a lot better. In any case, I didn't want to see him hung any more than I wanted to see young Neil shot. And since Fate wasn't the kind of a man you could argue with or throw in jail to cool off, I went looking for Neil. He wasn't at the OK stable, but a small boy there told us that he'd be right back, so Chester and I sat down in one of the stores and waited.
Mr. Dillon, you don't think Neil's going to admit trying to stage an ambush, do you?
Well, he'd be a fool if he did, Chester.
And what are you going to do with him?
I don't know. Maybe he'll do it by himself.
Just
What?
like I told you before.
Yeah, maybe this is him.
Deserves to die, Neil. It don't matter none who kills him.
Hey, it's that fella Shin.
Be quiet, Chester.
Well, sometimes I think it'd be worth hanging for, even if I did get caught.
That's more like it, kid. Don't you let nobody bluff you.
He ain't all bluff. I've seen him.
Neil, Fate Ender's like a Confederate dollar. Like 500 Confederate dollars, in fact. He's just that no good.
Well, I don't know. But anyways, he sure didn't treat me fair. I mean, I shouldn't have talked so much about shooting him.
Don't you worry, kid. They can't do nothing to you. They can't prove nothing at all.
Of course they can't.
What's there to prove, Neil?
Marshal.
Take your hand off that gun, Shin.
Why, sure.
Shouldn't jump out at a man like that, Marshal.
Well, my being here wouldn't bother most men.
What do you mean?
I take it you've heard about Fate Ender getting shot.
I heard. And he's saying I did it, too.
Well?
Don't tell him nothing, kid. You don't need no alibi.
Suppose you stay out of this, Shin.
Well, why should I? I'm the only friend Neil's got around
Neil
here.
can talk for himself.
Everybody's got a rope on the kid. It ain't
That's
fair.
enough out of you.
He's just trying to help me, Marshal. But he don't need to. I can prove I wasn't anywhere near there.
Oh? Well, how do you know where it happened, Neil?
A friend of mine met him on the way into town. Ender told him all about it, and he come straight off and told me. Ender says it was at noon, Marshal. You want to know where I was at noon?
Yeah, where?
At the Texas Trail, talking to Kitty. I'm going back there right now and get her to prove it before Ender finds me and tries to kill me.
Now, wait a minute, Neil.
Let him go.
It won't do any good, kid.
Of course it will.
Darn fool, kid.
Shin. Why won't it do any good?
There's nobody will believe either of them. You'll say they're both lying. He's paid off Kitty or something.
Stop right there, Neil. No!
Hey, that was fate ender, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. All right, drop that gun, Fate. Drop it.
Don't let him shoot me again. I ain't gonna shoot you again. Not this time, anyway. Here. Take my gun, Marshal.
You know, you don't have to kill a man to go to jail, Fate. All right, Chester, keep an eye on him.
Yes, sir.
How are you, Neil?
He busted my shoulder, Marshal.
You're lucky.
I seen him coming and I got scared. But I wasn't fast enough.
You weren't fast enough?
I know him. He'd never bother saying so. But I drew first, Marshal. I gotta admit it.
Now, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Give Neil a hand here, huh? Taking up the ducks.
Okay, Mr. Dillon.
Shin can help you, Chester.
He's run off, Neil. Seems like he's kind of gun shy. All right, now, come on. Put your arm around me here.
Be careful, put it under.
There we are. Well, walk some, Neil. It's your shoulder hurting.
Tell me something, Fate. How come you didn't finish him off while you had the chance?
Well, I would have. The first shot hadn't crippled him. I ain't no murderer, Marshal.
But you'll kill him when he gets well. Is that it?
I'll kill him. Of course I will.
Hello, Matt.
Hiya, Marshal.
Kitty? Sam?
I can tell you're not going to make any money off him today, Sam.
Have a drink on the house, Marshal.
No. Kitty's right, Sam. I didn't come here for pleasure.
I heard about Fate Ender being shot. Is that what it is, Matt?
Yeah. Kitty, young Neil claims that he was in here at noon talking to you.
Yeah, he was, Matt. Funny thing is, he was talking about Fate most of the time. Sam was here, too. He heard him.
Yeah, sure did. If what he was saying is true, Fate's about the sharpest dealer I ever heard of.
Oh? What do you mean, Sam?
Oh, it's just a story about Fate when he was still in Texas.
Go on. Hey, tell him, Kitty. Tell him.
Well, seems Fate owed a man $500 when the war broke out. But he told him he'd keep it for him so he'd have something when he got out of the army. That was during the Confederacy, of course. So when the fellow came back to collect his money, Fate shoved a whole barrel of it at him and told him to help himself.
Ain't that something, Marshal?
Fate claimed the debt had been made in Confederate money, so that's what he paid off with. Pretty foxy of him, don't you think, Matt?
500 no good Confederate dollars. Kitty. Did Neil say where he'd heard this story?
Oh, that new friend of his, Shin. He told him. Why?
Hey, it's a good story, Kitty. It's a real good story.
Neil's fine, Mr. Dillon. Doc's got the bullet out and everything.
Yeah, there's nothing more I can do now. You're You're a mighty lucky young fella, Neil.
I don't call getting shot so lucky.
I ain't talking to you, mister. When you come back tomorrow, Neil, I'll have to change that dressing.
Sure, Doc. Let's get out of here, Shin.
Okay.
Shin.
Yeah.
Where'd you go after the shooting at the stable?
Nothing I could do for him there, Marshal. Come on, kid.
Now, you wait here a minute, Neil. I would like to talk to you.
What for?
Well, I ain't waiting.
You might be interested in this, too, Shin.
I'll wait for you at the stable, Neil.
That's far enough, Shin.
I've heard all your talk I need, Marshal.
Shin, maybe Fate Ender outsmarted you, but $500 isn't enough to try to kill a man over. Now, wait! Get over by the window, Chester, in case he makes the street. I'm going after him.
Yes, sir. Look at him, Mr. Dillon. Right there.
What?
I got him.
Did you shoot him, Chester? I didn't hear anything.
No, sir. That chamber pot there, I dropped it right on his head.
What?
A bullseye, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Well, he's your prisoner, Chester. Come on down and lock him up.
Yes, sir, I'll be right there.
Neil?
Yes, sir.
Marshal here told me the whole story.
Looks like we both made a mistake, Mr. Ender.
Shin wasn't much of a friend, was he? Trying to hide behind you all the time.
I took up with him when I was drunk. That's the whole trouble.
Neil, I'm kind of old. Sometimes I guess I forget what it's like to be young.
Yes, sir.
And I... Well,
That's all right, Mr. Ender.
No, it ain't all right.
Maybe what he's trying to tell you, Neil, is that he went and paid Doc for fixing you up.
He did?
And Doc says it'll only be a couple of weeks before you can ride again.
Couple of weeks is too long for a little wound like that. I won't have no namby-pambies riding for me. You hear?
Yes, sir. I hear.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Vic Perrin, James Ogg, Harry Bartell, and Barney Phillips. Harley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. Gunsmoke has been selected by the Armed Forces Radio Service to be heard by our troops overseas. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the story of the violence that moved west with young America, the story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
barkeep.
Well, what'll it be, stranger?
Nothing.
What?
I don't drink.
Is that what you come in here for, to tell me you don't drink?
I didn't come in here to tell you nothing, barkeep.
You won't be the first stranger in Dodge I've had to straighten out.
Which one of these men is the marshal?
Marshal?
The marshal. I was told I'd find him here.
He's here. He's sitting right behind you, so don't start nothing.
Oh. Is that him, sitting right there?
That's him.
Well. Marshal Dillon.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you, Marshal.
Well, go ahead.
Do you mind if I sit down?
No.
Huh. Now, my name is Ben Corder, Marshal.
Ben Corder.
This is my first time in Dodge.
I know.
And I want to be friends, Marshal.
Why not?
Now, I figure we can do each other a lot of good. A lot of good.
Oh? Is that so?
That sure is. That's why I came to talk to you. See, whenever I come to a new town, I always get to know the man that's running the place. That way I figure there won't be no misunderstandings later on.
Misunderstanding about what?
Well, I'm a gambler, Marshal.
Dodge is an open town, Mr. Corder.
Oh, sure. You see, I make money gambling. Sometimes a lot of money.
Now, you must be pretty lucky.
I'm lucky, all right. But now, you know how sometimes a player will go broke and start a fuss over it, maybe even run to the law about it?
Yeah, I know. And when he does, he's usually been cheated.
Oh, some losers always got to complain about something.
Is that what you came to tell me, Mr. Corder?
Oh, Marshal, you know what I'm talking about. Now, you take care of the troublemakers, and I'll take care of you. Say, a quarter of the profits, huh?
Let me explain something to you, Mr. Corder. If a man loses his money gambling, I figure that's his lookout. But I still don't allow any crooked games in Dodge because sooner or later they lead to killing. So you run your game straight, or out you go.
That's not friendly, Marshal.
Now, you've made one mistake, Mr. Corder, trying to bribe me. You make another and you're through here. For good.
Oh, you're one of the hard-nosed lawmen, eh?
You'll find out soon enough, mister.
Will I? Now, I've got an idea that I can persuade you yet, Marshal.
Too far to come by a coach. K-O-C-H-E-D-E-N-I. Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
Did you ever hear of a place called